Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and well, actually, it's good morning. I want to say good morning. Welcome. Well, we're gonna go straight into this. This is election watch. The leading up to the Jamaica election. What should I say? The count which is on the way. Should have actually come on a bit earlier, but you can see the count coming on its way. And I want to thank those who are joining me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and YouTube as well. But I just want to invite my various guests. I've got O'Neill here on the from coming in from the United States of America. Trump is actually going to give him the answers to tonight. Are you O'Neill? All right. You're on mute. Sorry, you're on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good, Silver. How are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, this is a graveyard ship for us in the UK. And let me just invite Mark Cameron, also from the USA. I'm hoping to get. How are you, Mark?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here with you.
Yes. So what we are seeing now, we are seeing that the election is on its way. I mean, well, the election is done now. It's just really tallying up the counts. And what your guys take with it before we just switch over onto? We are going to be following on TVJ with Dion Jackson Miller, and give our comments and as well. What's your take so far?
Well, it's a close election, as expected.
Yes.
The voter turnout seems to be a little bit higher than the last election. It's down to the wire, really.
Yes.
To see where things are gonna go. You know.
Yes. And O'Neill, what do you say?
If you are any one of the party leaders, it's nail biting times for you right now. Because to Mark's point, it's down to the wires. You need 33. So whoever gets to 33 is going to go to the big form the government. So I call it the race to 33, and we'll see. But it will be a nail biting into the night.
Yes.
So we'll see how the night plays out.
Well, without further ado, we're just going to go straight into TVJ. And also, just to let you know, I don't know if it's from Jamaica, but I'm talking internet issues early in the morning here. But anyhow, let's see how it unfolds. Anyhow, so here we go. And let me just get the volume up here. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm following on from TVJ.
Of the JLP 2,774, Princess Ford of the JPP 57. You are saying
we can always chip in at different times, yeah?
Yes.
Old constituency.
Young candidate, doing well so far, going well. Mr. Vassal.
DK Duncan's constituency in another lifetime as well.
There's Juliet Holness, St. Andrew East Rural, 77 boxes of 137. She has 4,925 votes. To the PNP's Patrick Peterkin, 4,545. Kamisha Hendricks, 29 votes. Of UIC, Purchase Jackson of the JPP.
Hey, Silver, you have a lot of feedback.
A lot of feedback there. Okay, let me see something.
Former, yes.
I don't think we've seen this one for a while. St. Andrew West Rural, 124 boxes of 140. And
can you hear the feedback?
Juliet Cuthbert Flynn with 7,152.
No.
To Joan Gordon Webley of the PNP,
I'm good.
6,213. George Roach of
Hey,
the
Malik, come in. How are you?
Good
morning.
gentlemen.
Welcome to the.
Yeah. Earl, let me let you take over.
Manchester Northeastern already marked up the PNP 56%, 6,472 votes.
That's an old Aldershire seat.
5,144.
Yeah, all the time.
Warren of the JPP.
30
Okay,
years.
That's
okay.
a seat that was dominated by Audley Shaw for quite a while.
Can you play
And
some Lana
Manchester
Del Rey, please?
Northwestern, 83 of
playing
104
elections.
boxes.
I
Michael
could,
Phillips of the PNP, 5,625. Damian Young of the JLP, 4,521. Tricia Stewart Angus of the JPP, 28 votes.
Wow.
St. Elizabeth Southeastern, Norman Scott continues to lead, but is only 17 of 109 boxes. He has 1,004 votes to Franklin Witter, 991. Raymond Dobbs of the JPP, 11 votes.
I'm surprised that Damian Young
Eastern, Denise Daly
uh,
of the PNP,
getting that close to Michael Phillips.
6,589. Dwight Pecco, or Peku,
hold on, let me
rather,
just turn it down
the
there.
JLP, 4,000.
So what are you saying? What are you saying, guys?
I'm surprised that Damian Young he's gotten as much close to votes as Michael Phillips.
Yes.
Usually Michael Phillips, it's like a blowout. But when you're looking at 5,000 votes compared to 4,000, high 4,000, then that's too close.
Yes. And Malik, what's your thoughts so far? I don't know if you're watching anything.
Yes, I have been in the background, Good evening and morning, gentlemen.
Yes.
Honored to be with you and the viewers.
Yes.
I am watching here with bated breath, in the sense that depending on the voter turnout, that will truly impact who wins what. As obvious as that sounds, as obvious as that sounds,
Hey, Silver, and you have feedback again.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying was, my reasoning is this. This apathy vote will have been turned after the leadership debate. The comment made by the Right Honourable Prime Minister about Jamaica and place of birth may have rankled the persons who were undecided. Those
You mean
who
for
are
them to stay back, for them to stay home?
Yes.
Okay.
You see? Right? And that apathy vote, I think, will be the real swing vote in all of this right now. So, as I sit here and seeing the closeness right now, the way, for example, with Michael Phillips being so close at this stage, it is concerning. However, it is Jamaica first, party second. So it's going to be a very interesting few hours right now as we see how things turn out. That is my initial thought.
Jamaica first, party second. That sounds very skewed in one direction.
Sounds like
a talking point. Sounds like a talking point of the GLP. But it's okay.
No,
okay.
sir.
It's all good.
No. Let me clarify.
Clarify that bit.
I'm not saying choose Jamaica. Right? No. What I'm saying genuinely is that oftentimes when it comes down to our politics, we tend to think about the importance of our party winning or a party winning. And we seldom think about Jamaica 20, 30, 40, 50 years time. And so I genuinely, without being bipartisan, I genuinely think that this vote should be focused on where we are in the geopolitical space. Yeah, where we are in the geopolitical space, how we can position ourselves with regards to the resources that we still own, the cultural currency, and dare I say, brand Jamaica, and more importantly,
Malik?
Silver, and you have feedback again.
You guys are getting some feedback. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And more important, what is in the best interest of our citizens. And this is
Yeah, I do apologize. I don't understand what's going on there, if anything like that, as to what is triggering
You're
the
fine right
feedback.
now. Whatever you're doing, keep doing exactly this now.
Okay, maybe just stay right where I'm at. I just to let persons know, people asking questions like where's the leading so far. I think Dion Jackson had said there was it's gone, but I think it's 11 at present being led by the JLP and 9 by the PNP so far. It's early days. We are seeing some seats which have gone, like some upset, like Peter Bunting. He has won his seat. And they said he's the only guy that goes from constituency to constituency winning seats. I think so, if anything, so far.
But
But
he's also lost in constituencies as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So nothing major has really. There's no major. Is there? What do you say? There any major upsets so far? So if anything, there's no
I
major
think
upset.
the big one that you're tracking is if Anne-Marie is at Buchanan based on what we saw. But if I recall, just from the bit, they had tons of boxes to count. If I recall, I think it was like 80% of the boxes left to be counted. If I recall. I think, you know, the way I sort of view it, I don't see the comment made by the Prime Minister in the debate around the whole definition of Jamaican is going to move votes in the way people think. There was an exit poll. A lot of feedback. Silver, stop touching stuff.
Okay. Let me go on mute. Let me mute myself.
There you go. There was an exit poll that I looked at this afternoon, and it talked about what voters cared about. And a lot of the thing that I saw in that is people care about what is going on in their lives today. So we call it kitchen table issues. I don't think a lot of people went in to poll or vote and dip their hands in the hank, and they're thinking about 10, 15, 20 years from now. Few people are doing that. People are voting based on their circumstances today and which party they believe will take that circumstances and uplift them to the next level. I think that you're going to see play out. And I think the PNP, if you look at their strategy and messaging, is they're looking at the kitchen table issue. While if you just listen to the messaging from the JLP, it was based on the macroeconomic stability, the resiliency that they've built, and say, hey, we need another term to then look at the middle class. I think however that message resonate, I think that's where you're going to see who sort of win this election. And I think that's why, in my opinion, you're seeing it so very close. You need 33. I think the JLP can afford to lose, I think, 12, because they have 49, I think, if my math is correct. They could lose 12, 13 seats, I believe, and still take the majority. So the question becomes, can the PNP in the places that they have stronghold retake those seats to make a difference? But I think you're going to see, I think it was a Portia Simpson, Andrew first. I think it was 31 to something like 33 or something like that way back when. No, actually Portia and Bruce, where Portia took by like one seat or something, like one vote. So I think it's going to be close.
Keep talking, guys. Keep talking.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close.
No, I remember that vote because we were talking at the time as independents that if we had one independent win, they could decide which government would be we could decide the government, basically, you know.
Yeah.
If one in no, you mentioned something a while ago about kitchen table issues. I think increasingly we're seeing people who are more gullible, who are easily influenced by shiny buildings, and you're looking at more misinformed voters. We're not looking on the deeper issues that are going to change the trajectory of Jamaica. in a positive way.
Mm.
So they're easily misled by sound bites. They don't do enough due diligence and fact checking in what the people are saying. So we're not getting a government that is here based on real issues that are going to change our country. It's really sound bites and people who they can fool, people who are just not as informed as they should. And the less educated you are, I think you're going to be voting for trinkets and shiny buildings, without looking on how those things are how they come about, how they came about. For instance, we're not looking on the asset liquidation in our country, the enormous loans that are being taken out in our name. Quite recently, the government took lease payments for the airport 8 years up front to do who knows what. Now, if the PNP were to go into power, that is a resource they're not going to be able to access because that money's already been spent. So when the GLP talks about prosperity, is prosperity at what cost? What's the cost to the Jamaican people for this so-called prosperity? You look on the roads that they talk about. The roads are being financed by outside entities that Jamaicans are actually paying for. And on top of that, we had to give up our most pristine areas in Jamaica. The Roaring River watershed is now belongs to the Chinese government. So at what cost is this prosperity? And let's be reminded also that the GLP came into power because of the bad policies of the PNP. The PNP made it possible for the GLP to win in the elections before. So I'm sure this is an eye opener for the PNP on the foundation on which they've been built, and I think they're trying to get back to basics. But on the other hand, the GLP has hijacked a lot of the language of the PNP in recent times.
Mark, let's go over to Dion Jackson here. Just pop over to Dion Jackson here, what she's saying.
Sure.
Just one moment there, please. Oh,
At East Portland seat, Earl, a quick comment on what we're seeing there.
Well, this one would be a bit of a shake-up. Many people expected Anne-Marie Vaz, the incumbent, to hold it fairly easily, but we did see that Isaac Buchanan was mounting a serious challenge. And so, bearing in mind that this has been historically a strong PNP seat, perhaps it should not be surprising that it is this competitive.
Yeah, it's a seat the PNP used to win by over 1,000 and then over 2,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really because of Anne-Marie Vaz's ground operation why she was able to win the by-election and to hold on to it in 2020. 2020 was a misnomer. So what we're seeing now is a rebalancing of the scales. I expect at the end of tonight, the entire western belt of the country to go back orange because it was never really a green space. So Westmoreland 3, we see Eastern Westmoreland going to Dayton Campbell by over 1,000, which is how they used to win there, except in 2020 when Luther Buchanan lost by 11. But Central...
So sorry to interrupt you, just to say this is another one that's now completed. The PNP's Richard Azan taking Clarendon Northwestern over the JLP's Warren Newby, with Azan having polled 6,989 votes to the JLP's Warren Newby 6,490. Kevin Palmer picked up some votes there. And here is Westmoreland Eastern. This is showing 121 of 123 votes. It's been given now to Dayton Campbell of the PNP, 7,434 votes over Daniel Lawrence's 5,556. Here's Westmoreland Central, 169 of 70. It's given now to Dwayne Vaz of the PNP back in Parliament with 9,869 over George Wright's 8,326. Kathleen Greenwood with 39.
They've got the woman beater out. The woman beater has been beaten.
And Western Westmoreland now. This is 108 of 138. Ian Hales of the PNP, 6,454. Garfield James of the JLP, 4,820. Gilbert James, 54. Bert Van Madden of the JPP, 23 votes. St. Anne's Southwestern, 108 boxes of 138. This has Xavier Main, 5,069 votes over Danishka Williams of the PNP, 3,698. Clive Edwards, 28 votes, and that's 73 boxes of 105. And we have St. Anne Northwestern, 73 boxes of 105. Crystal Lee, the incumbent, holding on here at the moment with a lead with 7,346. Gabriella Morris, our first time out, 6,924. That's 10 boxes left to count in this constituency.
What's you guys' take on it so far? On these
Let's go
figures?
now to the JLP headquarters.
Hold on, here's what happened here.
It's turning into a party-like atmosphere here at the JLP headquarters, Dion. As you can see behind me, you will see that a number of JLP supporters are dancing. They're ringing their bells. They're playing one of their favorite anthems on the campaign trail, "The Lord is my shepherd." So that is the mood here at the moment. I'm now joined by another JLP supporter who is also dancing. Hi, good night. What's your name?
Newton Harris.
Why was it important for you to be here tonight?
To celebrate our victory.
Where did you vote?
I voted in St. Anne Northwestern for Crystal Lee.
So how is the trend looking for you based on what you've picked up so far?
Well, we always knew it would have been a close race, but we put in the work. Crystal has done phenomenally well in the one term. 2 years stolen by COVID, but she's done phenomenally well in terms of the infrastructure, the services, the roads, the health centers, all of the wonderful things that Crystal has done, the water projects with amazing stuff compared to what has gone before. So our constituency really has seen a difference.
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry?
Thank you so much. I know it's difficult to hear me. So that's the scene here at the JLP headquarters there. Maybe I could just get another supporter. Can you talk to me? Hi, good night. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What's your name?
Zachary.
Okay, I see you celebrating. You think you won?
Yes, I do. I'm very confident for the JLP.
It's not yet too early to declare.
Too early, that doesn't really mean much right now because we're confident we put in the work. We have the achievements to prove that we deserve the third term. So Dr. Holness will return as well as our MPs.
Thank you so much. Well, that's the mood here at the JLP headquarters, Dion. I'll check in with you a few moments later.
Thank you so much for that, Andrea. And yes, we'll continue to check in with you, and some more interesting results have been coming in. In fact, we are now seeing Clarendon Southeastern there with, okay, we moved on to St. Catherine Southwest. Okay, we are going thick and fast, aren't we? So St. Catherine Southwest, Everett Warmington. Here's St. Catherine Southern, Fitzjackson. And St. Catherine Central, Olivia Babsy Grange. So we're kind of moving fast through those. Okay, here we go. St. Elizabeth Southwestern, and as they
is that too close
in the room, Earl, we get to do the honors here. Read the next couple for me.
Floyd Green of the JLP, he's the incumbent, 9,044. Miranda Wellington of the PNP, 7,650. And the significance of this particular seat is that it always goes to the party that wins nationally. So that may be one of the reasons why there's celebration at JLP headquarters at the moment. Yes. Clarendon Southeastern, Pernell Charles Jr. of the JLP, 1,824. Sian Barnswell of the PNP, 1,284. And Sian Thomas of the JPP, 13 votes. That's 27 boxes of 144. Clarendon Northern, Wavell Hines, the cricketer, 5,623. to Dwight Sibley's of the JLP, 5,407. Judilyn Casey Edwards of the JPP, 24 votes. That's 95 boxes of 104, of 100 rather. St. Thomas Eastern, 114 of 128 boxes. Yvonne Shaw continues to lead, 6,597. And the incumbent, Michelle Charles of the JLP, 6,188. Claudius Wong is on 31. And Jovian Blair of the JPP, 26. St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, the incumbent, 6,836. Hubert Williams of the PNP, 5,696. And Carleen Affleck of the JPP, 39 votes. That's 125 of 163 boxes rather. St. Andrew West Central, the constituency of the Prime Minister.
Even the Prime Minister,
very, very
hard
tight.
time.
87 boxes of 105. Paul Buchanan
Wow.
of the PNP is now leading 4,000.
Wow.
Let's draw breaks right there and let it play on the side. What if the JLP win and the Prime Minister loses his constituency? Eh? Malik, you want to come in there?
Yes, it would be rather embarrassing if the Prime Minister loses his seat. And let me tell you why. If your own constituency have no faith in you, then it speaks to the essence of your leadership. And so for his sake, I think it would be better optics if he won his seat. I just wanted to pick up on something that the commentator had mentioned earlier. Now, St. Elizabeth, Clarendon, St. Catherine, as far as I recall, between them, 12 to 14 times in terms of our elections, whoever has won those seats predominantly has indicated the party that has won the election. And so I think it's really critical to see how it's playing out, certainly in St. Catherine, as to who wins what. It will, I think history will truly inform us going forward. Looking at those main areas, it will give an indication of how it's looking nationally. And in terms of Western Jamaica, it has traditionally been a hardcore PNP situation down there. And so seeing this return, I think it was something that Mark had mentioned earlier about the kitchen table issues. Certainly that's being reflected in the results in Western Jamaica, because ultimately you need to know how bus fare will impact your children, how when you go to the shop, how far the money will stretch. And I think it's a valid point to think about why people vote a particular way. Not many of us truly think about the future of Jamaica in that regard. And this is where I think, well, not I think, I know Mark's point is relevant. It's sad, but it absolutely is relevant.
I put that to O'Neill. O'Neill, if the Prime Minister loses his seat, which is looking close there, even though it's still slightly early days at the same time, what do you see as the impact?
It would be a major upset in the sense that the Prime Minister loses his seat, and to the point around confidence, it would shatter confidence within the Jamaica Labour Party. I don't believe there's a scenario. So Jamaica has gone through 19 elections.
Yes.
I don't believe there is a scenario where the leader of the party, either opposition or the ruling party, has lost their seat. So I think this would be unprecedented if this happened. Someone could check me. And it goes back to messaging, sort of what you're talking about, Miguel, is, what resonate with people. I think rightly or wrongly, the JLP has a vision that they think is best for the Jamaican people. Whether you agree the pathway they want to go there, they have a vision. And equally, the opposition leader, Mark Golden, also have a vision. The key in all of this equation is which vision, when those folks go to cast their vote, they believe in. if they believe in, as Mark talked about, the kitchen table and the things that impact me today, they're going to go one way or the other, right? And it is whether the messaging resonate. I think, Mark, before we sort of got on, we were talking about the fact that the commentator talked that there are certain seats that are PNP seats and there are certain seats that are JLP seats. That has been the issue in Jamaica for a long time, not just Jamaica, but other places, because people feel it's the party seat here or there. It's not where let's vote for what is in the interest of the Jamaican people. And that's been the issue. And, politicians upon politician in Jamaica has played that tune every time because they know if I say this is a strong whatever color, you're going to sort of resonate with it. On Saturday, we talked about there are people in Jamaica today that will say, my grandfather was one color, and the whole generation, and therefore I cannot vote another color, right? And it's colors over country, and it should be country over party, right? And you got to choose your country, because I believe that just as parents, there are certain pains that you take to make life better for your kids. Sometimes we have to figure out to make that in our country, where sometimes you have to do certain things knowing that the next set of generations are going to be better off, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's Chinese philosophy. When a Chinaman open a shop,
Mark, your reactions, Mark.
No, I just adding on what he said. I said when the Chinese culture, when they build a shop today, it's not for themselves; it's for the generations down the line.
Yep.
And in our culture, it seems as if we're here. We want instant gratification. It's here and now. What can I have myself today? And tomorrow's problems. That's where things are trending. That's what I've seen. Moving back to Jamaica and just being around people and their mentality. For instance, being in business, I've been into situations with people who are only concerned about what they can have today. It's not about building a relationship for tomorrow. Our culture has changed significantly. I'd build your house today. You help me build my house tomorrow. That you'd only find that in some of the more rural areas where that mentality still exists.
Yes.
But we're definitely changing, and the whole culture, the MTV and the social media and the influence from America and the different places, we're changing country. And when I spoke to Marco Julius Garvey recently, he said something that resonated with me. He said Jamaica needs a reset where there has to be a spiritual awakening, so to speak, where people are getting back to how we connected. What made us Jamaica. When I was in the 60s, 70s, if you went to the country and you ask a guy for directions, he'll most likely follow you where you're going, and he'd want nothing from you. He just want to be around you because you're from Kingston, right? Now, if you ask a man for directions or whatever, they expect to get some kind of compensation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for that. And ladies and gentlemen, just want to check to see if you can hear me clearly, and any feedback or anything. I think we're getting around that. Just a few little upsets that we have seen. We have seen where I think we can call it that Isaac Buchanan has broken the vase. Sorry, I mean that's a term that they say a lot. Isaac Buchanan seemed to have won the seat from Miss Vaz, and also Nikisha Burchell. That's a very interesting one as well. She seemed to have won because I tell her she has been very vibrant on the side there. I think she's aiming, well, if the PNP went to be communication or Minister of Information or so like that.
Let me say this here. I know her very well. As a matter of fact, I
Yes.
met her the first time she was introduced to the People's National Party. And what resonated with me was how bright she was. I mean, she would have been a perfect independent candidate, just based on her views, looking on it without the color of her political party. She believed in personal responsibility. She believed in she had a lot of innovative ideas for her community, and she's also from that area. So I would I expect her to win. But not only that, but I see her as one of the rising stars in the PNP because of how bright she is, and how engaged she is with the community. She's also very personable. I like her, so I'm very happy that she's actually winning.
Somebody asked a question. Yeah. Somebody asked a question. If an exit poll was done, I think we can comfortably say no, isn't it, Malik? There was an exit poll.
There was exit poll. I saw some exit polls.
Different ones. Okay.
I saw one. Someone was talking about an exit poll and some of the theme that came out of it, but I don't know how they use exit poll in sort of calling elections.
If the prime minister loses his seat, though, that is something that's monumental. I mean, how do you go on the world stage representing Jamaica knowing you didn't win your own seat, I'm not even sure, forgive my ignorance. I'm not sure. I mean, can he be prime minister if he lost his seat?
No, he cannot be. No, he can't be prime minister.
Well, so the question is that I don't know the answer, but can you be prime minister if you're in the Senate?
No, that's where I was going to come to now. And we saw something in a similar nature with Canada. If you notice, Canada, Mark Carney never had a seat, but somehow their constitution is all messed up or warped in a bit, isn't it? Whereby he can actually be the prime minister without having a seat. I think, in a sense, like in the Westminster system, if you notice when Boris was trying to come back, he had to have a seat. You understand? And likewise, in this particular case, the leader must have a seat. It's just like the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance is not a senator. If you notice like that, they got to have a seat. That's why they got Nigel into a very safe seat at the same time. So that's the big issue there. Malik, I don't know if you want to come in there, if anything.
Yeah, just on the exit poll situation, the only one that I am aware of, well, there were two, but the Don Anderson one that went up to the 27th of August when they pulled their people out of the field, that had given the PNP an edge. And that's the one that was broadcasted all over the media because of Don Anderson's credibility. But as far as up until this morning, I'm not aware of any other exit polls.
Yes.
So I think, someone would need to check the Constitution. I think you might be right that for you to be prime minister in Jamaica, I think you have to be a sitting member of parliament. I believe so. I don't think it's similar to Canada.
It is not similar to Canada. Definitely not. Yeah.
Right. So, which would be a shocker because that seat has been held. I don't believe a PNP has won that seat because Roberts Mount a challenge. Edward Siaga had that for, man. I don't think a PNP has ever won that seat before.
I think he may hold on to it by the skin of his teeth, if anything like that, for the sake of saving face. The universe may try to help him out.
Yeah.
If anything.
But it's sort of similar and interesting, like, and Mark said a couple of things that, around where Jamaica and sort of what's the feedback if you just look at this election, and if you say it flip, why? If you look at it from Washington's point of view, meaning from an international lens, without the ground, your ear to the ground, there's a lot of people external that would say Jamaica is moving in a good direction from a macroeconomics perspective, right? I've heard in settings here in Washington, D.C., where Jamaica is used as an example of reduction in their debt to GDP. They have been used as an example for the resilience that they have sort of built up over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You
Only
could
I want to go on to what the EOJ, that's the lady from the EOJ office actually speaking. Just give me 1 second.
30 to 33. So the Jamaica Labour Party leading in 33 constituencies to the People's National Party's 30. An interesting one, Dion, that you pointed to earlier. We're going to go to it. Just we're seeing in St. Andrew West Central, the Prime Minister's seat. We're seeing the People's National Party's candidate Paul Buchanan leading in that seat, and we have 87 of the 105 boxes counted. So it's almost 82% completed, and we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate leading in the Prime Minister's constituency. And we're going to move over now to St. Andrew Northwestern, where we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate Ethne Miller Simpson. She is trailing the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate Dwayne Smith in that constituency. Going down now to St. Andrew West Rural, where we're seeing, well, the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate, the incumbent Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. She is leading in that constituency to 8,290 votes to the People's National Party's candidate Joan Gordon Webley, 7,157 votes. Now, should the incumbent hold on to this seat, it will be the second time the Jamaica Labour Party has had 3 consecutive wins in that constituency in St. Andrew West Rural. And going over now, if the videographer could just come with me, we're going to St. Ann Northwestern, where we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate Gabriella Morris at 6,989 votes to the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate 7,383 votes in that constituency. Final one, Dion, before I come back to you. In Portland Eastern, we're seeing the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate still trailing the People's National Party's candidate, Anne-Marie Vaz, 8,072 votes to the People's National Party's Isaac Buchanan, 8,290 votes. So as I said, we're almost there, almost at the finish line for this evening, Dion. 93% of the boxes counted. And again, the People's National Party leading in 30 seats, the JLP leading in 33 seats. It's back to you.
Thank you so much. Really important to get that kind of global picture of what is happening. 33 to 30, and you heard as well, it seemed to have been moving a little bit up and down, but the latest figures there, 33 seats in which the JLP is leading and 30 for the PN.
Go on, Neil. Yeah.
No, so there's an interesting bit she said. I don't know what she meant by they're leading by 33 to 30. Is it, because there's no context, is it the 3 seats they're over? Is it, most of the boxes count? She didn't give a deeper analysis to say, based on trend, because typically you could say, here's where it's trending, because you could extrapolate and say, if you have 48% of the box and this person has 52 and you have 10 boxes left, where those 10 boxes are from. So if you just look back at the Prime Minister, the question could be, is Tivoli, which is a JLP stronghold, did they count those boxes? Are they waiting for that? Right. So,
wow.
Right.
Rhoda.
Oh, wow.
Rhoda's kicking. She got it.
She almost eked it out. Wow.
Yeah, I think she's gonna get it there. What? It's a difference of a couple hundred.
Hold on. Yeah. With 1 box left.
Yeah. No, Rhoda works hard. I must say.
But let's go back to, I think, Mark, where if you go back an hour ago, he was up like 54 to whatever. So it goes back to the point I was trying to make. You have strongholds in different constituencies. So where the boxes are coming from. So you might have boxes from, if there's part of West Kingston that is strong PMP, like where Zeke's used to be. Are they counting those first? And then here because you have 87
Well,
out
I
of.
wonder where the premise are tight, you know, man.
I don't even know who's Paul Buchanan. That's not a
Four,
name that I'm familiar with.
Well, I guess we'll all
4,000.
know now. We'll all know now.
We come
Wow,
out here.
Matt Neal is losing.
Wow. Okay. That's a very interesting one. He's a potential minister of, well, he was a former minister of tourism, wasn't he?
Tourism. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's interesting.
Nikisha, she won that seat, yeah.
She won it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the
110 of-
incumbent, right?
No. She wasn't. She wasn't an MP. It's the first time. Homer Davis was an MP.
First time. This guy's been this guy Homer Davis. He's been around a long time.
Okay.
He's one of those silent voices, isn't it?
Yeah, I've
He's
never
silent.
seen him before.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, that's close to call. Malahu fought and Andre Horton. Andre Horton put in his stuff there. Malahu is there. We watched that one.
She's up by what? Almost 1,500 votes.
Yes. And they're like three quarters.
And she's from St. James too, so
yeah.
James Robinson.
He's a dinosaur, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw his motorcade coming from St. Thomas when he went around the roundabout at Harborview. And a lot of people, he had a lot of supporters behind him, you know. But like I said, Jamaican politics is, you get the government money, money can buy, you know. Whoever's in power has more money, can spend more money, and you know, it's a way of the world, man. You have Elon Musk buying, paying for votes, and you know, it's in the Constitution that you're not supposed to bribe anyone to get your vote, but it's not enforced. It's against the law. And when you have lawmakers ignoring it becoming lawbreakers, then what hope do we have as a country, you know?
But does that mean, Mark? So you always have the term dark money, right? It's in the U.S. You hear about it. So should I think
it's a very interesting one. Norman Dunn seemed like he's gonna be out. If anything,
it could be.
Well, it's close. It's close still. Yeah, 3 boxes to go. You know.
But this is where I say if the citizens want to take back their votes, then push for public financing of elections, right?
That is one of the things I when I was part of the of Monroe's the National Integrity Action. That's one of the questions I asked him. I said, "Hey, why don't you have publicly funded elections?" One of the things
that would help, like the independence, isn't it? UIC
exactly. One of the reasons we had a slight confrontation was the fact that he wanted to give the independents money based on their percentage of the last votes. Now, how can you do that? I mean, if you're just starting out,
the formula from New York has that formula.
No, but it doesn't. You see, we cannot paint everything with a broad brush. We have to look on Jamaica and look on the dynamics of our country and make the best decision that is gonna benefit us collectively. We had debates recently, and none of the independent candidates were invited to the debates. We didn't hear what they had to say. So the system is designed to keep the two political entities going at each other. We are governed by a duopoly form of governance. It's a JLP, PNP versus Jamaican people. So until we have constitutional reform that takes into consideration those aspects of voting and how to engage our population, then it's not going to change. I supported an independent candidate.
Hold on 1 second there, Mark. Just look at this number. That 23 votes, if you add it to Donovan Williams, that's what, 40. If Donovan Williams got those 23 votes, it's 49.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Now, if he got that 23 votes, Wow.
But you're not
Let's look at
overturning
it.
that
Hey,
in a magisterial recount. 12 votes they might be hoping to
that was a
overturn.
point. That's a good point there, O'Neill.
Clarendon
Yeah.
Southeastern, Purnell Charles Jr., 94 boxes out of 144, 6,004 votes. Sian Barneswell of the PNP, 4,805. Sian Thomas, 38 votes. So Clifford, you start perk up again. You know, I'm looking at the scales on the two sides. Yeah, at which point one is up and one is down. Here's Northern Clarendon, 95 boxes out of 100. The PNP's Wavell Hines, 5,000. Okay, this declared for Wavell Hines. So the cricketer heads the parliament. So we'll have a cricketer and an Olympian, it looks like.
Yeah. No, well, Nether Soul is another, but he played for Jamaica. He was another cricketer in Parliament years and years ago.
But even what's his name? Former PNP Gensec. His name is slipping me now. He's in St. Andrew.
Who?
Paul Burke.
Julian. He's a former cricketer.
At the youth level.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Well, this is a new biter, man.
Yeah. 129 boxes of 135. St. Ann Northwest, Crystal Lee continues to lead, 7,500.
That's still close enough. That is still close enough.
Gabriella Morris, 7,242.
That's slimming.
Manchester Northwestern, 99 boxes out of 104. And this one, okay, Michael Phillips of the PNP, 6,687. Damian Young of the JLP, 5,516. And Trisha Stewart Angus, 36
You
votes.
can call up on Michael Phillips. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
the guy Damien Young, right?
Go to the break. So this is nearly completed. So we can say Edward Warmington, the instigator. Edward Warmington retains his seat. Let's go to a break.
You know, Damien Young.
Sorry. Oh,
I'm from that era, right?
Isn't it?
Right, but Damien Young, right, against Michael Phillips. I'm from that area, and I when I saw his face up there, I didn't know who the hell he was. You know, so it looks as if they're voting based on party and not the person that's there. You know.
Correct. Whereas it's like that, right, Mark? Because Dayton Campbell is a transplant into that area.
Right.
Anyway, anybody see anything about Damian Crawford?
I saw something that
he was leading. He was
leading like, but there's a ton of boxes left to be counted. He was in St. Catherine.
Yeah, St. Catherine, somewhere in St. Catherine. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I just wanted to tune in.
Malik, yes.
The question of, from a constitutional law perspective, with regards to the Prime Minister losing his seat, and the Constitution stipulates that the Prime Minister must be a member of Parliament. He must have a seat.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, I just checked it on, you know. So what we're finding here is that if the Right Honourable Prime Minister should lose his seat, the JLP would have two choices. One, appoint a new leader, or allow him to have a safe seat, so to speak. And so then they would
give him a seat. When you say safe, give him a seat. Like say, hey, Mark won in Manchester. Mark, sorry, we're gonna give that seat to the Prime Minister.
Yes, and then there would have to be a by-election to just cement the whole situation.
You could do that.
You would have a revolution, man.
Wow.
I think you'll have a caretaker. You'll have a caretaker leader in the meantime. That's what happened. And I can't remember where that happened. A caretaker leader. And then they try to facilitate this particular, like Andrew Holness, for argument's sake. That is, of course, if the PN, I mean, that is only on the basis if the JLP win. And then what will happen is that caretaker, it's going to be really tricky, you know. There was something, and I'm trying to remember where it was, where that took place. A caretaker leader. Yeah, but I don't believe the person was a prime minister. I think it was an opposition person.
It'd be interesting if that gets down to that. Hopefully it does not, because you're in a new situation that Jamaica has not found itself in. But I'm sure if you're a party leader, you're game planning all of this. You're game planning, say, if I lose for whatever reason, Mark, you're it, right? I'm sure they have succession discussion if certain people lose, what they're going to do in the. I'm hoping that they have that sort of thinking to say, if but a JLP has not lost that seat in probably 40 years.
If he loses that seat,
he's done.
He'd be that's major shame. I mean, I don't think he would want a seat from somebody else. I don't think his pride would allow that, because he has this attitude as if he's the Barack Obama, you know. You know, I've seen pictures with him with his dark glasses coming out of an SUV, you know, and clearly staged. So I don't think he'd be able to swallow this very well.
I thought you were going to say you think he's Bob Marley.
No.
I tell you what I think. What the JLP should have done, if anything, when all these things was swirling around the Prime Minister's head, what they should have done strategically was to remove him and get someone like Chris Tufton in and strengthen their position in a way. Because what you're seeing now, if he loses his seat, you'll see people are saying they like the JLP, but they don't like what Andrew Holness represent, or I don't know, the whole integrity commission issue and the whole issue of transparency. I'm just saying that. So you're seeing a little. Okay, it's like the people have spoken. The pundits are going to look and say, what did the people say right here regarding the Prime Minister? Because that is going to be a major talking point. What is it now? It is what is it saying? 4,867, 4,762. I don't know how many boxes. Let's hear because there seems to be a talking point here. Let me see what this is actually saying.
And Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, she is still leading in that constituency, 8,290 votes to the People's National Party's candidate, Joan Gordon Webley. She is at 7,157 votes so far, 138 of 140 boxes right there. Now moving further to my right, well, we have some of the declared seats on top in terms of the Westmoreland Eastern, where the People's National Party won that seat. Going down now to Manchester Central, where just one box to go, and the Jamaica Labour Party is maintaining that lead in Manchester Central.
Is that Rhoda Crawford?
Going over now to Portland Eastern, and all the boxes have been completed, and the People's National Party's candidate Isaac Buchanan has won that constituency.
That's a big upset.
So Dion will be providing some more updates shortly, because we're almost, as I said, almost there. 96% of the boxes counted. It's back to you.
Yeah, that's a big upset.
And really interesting here what it is we're seeing. And let me check in with our politicals and see how they're doing. Clifford?
I believe that there's still, I simply there's way for us to go, but regardless of how it pans out, I think the big sign that we're getting from the people across the country is that they want change. They want to see some form of change. I think
this is a spinning that has
and I see that's a signal that we're getting. The people want change. We're seeing it in the Prime Minister's seat. We're seeing
is it a PMP guy?
Consistency.
Yes, a PMP guy. But you know something?
The start of the night.
I think if you think about
almost there.
One owner didn't have it right.
But they have a PMP person inside and a JP person inside.
I've never seen that before.
It's clear.
Yeah, there's one on each side. One clearly, you know.
Rhoda Crawford winning, holding on to that seat. When you look at Xavier Main performance,
Rhoda Crawford won.
Look at Norman Dunn holding on in his St. Mary's seat.
Tell me what
Dunn kept his seat.
A surprise is that Anne-Marie Vaz. It's a big surprise. I had Mrs. Vaz in my numbers. It was a seat I thought would have won. It's not to be based on.
Dunn. Hey,
that's a big surprise for me tonight.
To lose by less than 100 votes, tough, you know, man.
Yeah.
Manchester Central is a
man. Dunn eked it out.
I don't see that we comfortably could have taken. So seeing how well Rhoda played out, that was very much a surprise.
Yeah, but you know something with the Prime Minister's seat.
Oh wow, Rhoda.
Or underestimated the kind of work she's been doing.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
But I think
interviewed
in
her
my
a couple
head,
times,
I had it, so that her I guess win in 2020 was mainly because of how broken the PMP base was at the time. I think, and I thought at the time, Donovan may have done the necessary work to mend defenses in that seat. But I guess her being known to be a hard worker is enough to push her, or was enough rather to push her across the line.
There's Clarendon
Definitely a hard
Southeast,
worker.
120 boxes of 144. And we're seeing Pernell Charles Jr., 7,617. Cian Barneswell of the PNP, 6,832. Cian Thomas with
Michelle Charles looking a bit
49
unsafe though.
Oh, his daughter.
And
His sister.
where are we
His
going
sister out in
next?
St. Thomas.
Yeah, how's she doing?
I think
She was
Not
losing, right?
looking, yeah, not looking safe so far, but it's still.
Okay.
So one of the Charles siblings remains in Parliament.
So therefore one is
Ronnie
gone. Apparently she's gone. Michelle maybe is
Northern, we
gone.
still have 5 boxes left. Let me see what
This is a
you all
very
think
interesting
about.
one.
Oh,
Very
this is-
interesting one.
All right, me and the man.
And
Toba
Tova
Hamilton of the JLP. Let's stick to the numbers. I can't go wrong reading numbers. 7,894 to the
Well, you see if
PNPs,
she
which
takes
are
that
not yield
encounter.
7,700.
You see what's going on? You take one of my pawn, I take one of your
Elizabeth
pawn.
Southeastern, 94 out of 109. Franklin Witter of the JLP, 8,000.
Oh wow, Witter
Okay,
is back in the lead.
8,220. And Norman Scott of the PNP, 6,176. Raymond Dobbs of the JPP, 39 votes.
Wow. So Witter was losing before. Now
Andrew
he's
East
back.
Rural, 129 of 137. Juliet Holness, 8,617. Patrick Peterkin, 7,865. Kamisha
Silver and
Hendrick
Kamisha, that's the
has
girl you
46
interviewed.
votes,
She got
and Purcell
46 votes.
Jackson,
Yes.
38. Purcell, I think. St. James West Central, here we go. Haven't seen this for a bit.
Wow.
80 boxes of
Okay, it's
106.
still early.
The
Yeah.
JLP is Marley Malahu Fort, 4,704. Andre Horton of the PNP, 4,122. Clifford Barnett, 15 votes.
I thought he'd have done better than that.
And St. Anne Southwestern, 86 boxes of 105. Xavier Main of the JLP, 5,837. Dennis
Williams
Wilson,
was the incumbent, right?
4,280. Clive Edwards of the JPP, 30 votes.
Was Williams the incumbent in the
St. Anne
previous one?
Northwestern, 133
No, I
of
think
the
she's a newcomer.
135 boxes. And Crystal Lee of the JLP, 7,971. To
Yeah, Crystal
Gabriella
Lee,
Morris of the
take
PNP,
that home.
7,317.
Yeah, as it relates to the Prime Minister, right?
St. Mary's Southeastern.
Okay.
1 box left here. And Norman Dunn of the JLP, 5,006. Let's start over. Norman Dunn of the JLP, 6,592. Christopher Brown of the PNP, 6,575. Mark Hutchinson, 26.
Where those Mark Hutchinson votes should have gone.
I was thinking of in terms of the third candidate, perhaps his vote making the difference. We don't know which way it might have gone, but it raises that possibility.
Central Kingston as well.
Can Mark Hutchinson give his votes to the PNP?
23.
Yeah.
There's a difference between
No, I don't know.
Steve McGregor
Or Darrell,
and,
but she was the Speaker of the House.
Donovan Williams
Yeah.
of 12.
Mark, you wanted to say something a while ago.
26 boxes of 96.
Well, this lady here, Marsha, she from
Marisa,
from the GLP.
Yes.
I've driven across her constituency, right? And let me tell you something, man. She's doing a fantastic job. I mean, with the roads there, they're professionally done. All of the gutters are in place. The roads are just well done, and she's well liked in her constituency. I'm surprised it's even that close, you know. But as relates to the Prime Minister, I think there's a backlash based on how well he's doing, and people are looking on his prosperity, and then their situation, you know.
Yes.
There could be a backlash because of that, because of the amount of press around how well he's doing, all the bank accounts that he's having, and his and not engaging his constituents as much as he should. So it could be a backlash from that, I think. The optics are not good, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Robert Montague. Well, he's got it back. Many people were saying he wasn't going to get it back, but he got it.
Yeah, they said he was one of the one that they thought was a toss up.
Yeah.
Well, when you're flushed with money in a budget, when you're flushed with money and people are hungry, you know, anything can happen. But like I said, back to a conversation about the constitutional reform and we really need to have. What I do like is the fact that this year there are more debates than I've seen before. And I've never seen that much attention paid to debates as long as I've seen debates go on in Jamaica. People were, and when you call them and say, yo, what's up? Boy, I'm watching the debate now. Everybody's like engaged, you know?
Yes.
So people are slowly waking up to the consequences of the actions of government on their lives. I think people are waking up to that, you know?
What do you guys think of social media? How has social media impacted this particular election, if anything like that?
I think people are overwhelmed with so many avenues for information and misinformation and the truth.
Yes.
There's so much more avenues opened up. I mean, people on TikTok, anybody can be a reporter.
Yes.
Anybody can show up and say something and, you know, whatever. And it's, you know, so it's, that cat's out of the bag. That horse has been out of the stables, is gone, is going on the road. Where we navigate things from here on out is going to be very interesting because in this so-called information age, if you're not connected, if you're not informed, if you're not in tune with the world and you're not educated, you're easily led. You're easily led away from the truth, you know.
Yeah. Let's
challenge.
move over. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh, 87. It's still early. I think the next
I don't think Westkinson, I don't think Tivoli's dropped yet. That's what I think. I don't think Tivoli's dropped yet.
Yeah. The next picture gonna come up is called be not 87 for a long time, but that figure there is gonna make a fundamental difference. And I think the Prime Minister will be safe in some respect at the same time. But let me see if I can get back.
So the one thing I would say, Mark, I don't believe is lack of education. I use the term low information voters, where they don't do, I think you said it, they don't go do the research. So they hear these bits.
Sound bites,
sound bites, right? So for me is what I call low information vote. And the interesting thing, when you look at how you tune the algorithm, you actually tune the algorithm for those voters because they're the one that is going to find something, don't dig deep into it and send it to 200 people. And you just cascade it down the road. And that's where you have misinformation and disinformation. And that's sort of how the algorithm is set up because they're not willing to do anything. Oh, Silburn, your boy got 11 votes.
1 box left. 24 boxes of 125. So Ika Jess of the
so Zulika's gone in. She's a fighter.
The hard work declared for Jess of the PNP.
She's gonna.
Delroy.
No, she wasn't.
Of the Jamaica
Party. First time.
Delroy slowly has been around for a very long time.
And Myrie of the JPP picked
As a
up
matter of
20,
fact,
and Joseph Patterson of the UIC picked up 11 votes.
This is a long-standing PNP seat.
Wow.
This is really just a rebalancing of everything with the anomaly of 2020. This is Kern Spencer, Raymond Price, and then Evan Redmond.
Okay,
this
so
used to be a very
slowly,
strong
this is his first and only.
Surprises there.
I would say though that I think one of the things we have seen is, I mean, the rebalancing you're speaking of, sure, but at the same time also an indication that the voters can't be taken for granted.
No.
Look at Northern Trelawney, for instance, where we're seeing this. Has this been declared yet? Okay, Tova Hamilton, 8,062 votes. Wickham McNeil of the PNP, 7,788.
McNeil has the seat for a long time.
Emily, but I also think that we are seeing a new generation of voters and that seats that previously had been thought safe. I mean, Central Kingston is not going to be in anybody's safe column going forward. Declared now for Tova Hamilton, so Wickham McNeil having traveled across West
That's a big upset.
wasn't successful in terms of getting back into Gordon House via Trelawney Northern. And again, this was a seat. This my point exactly.
It's a big upset.
Big victory there. I agree.
Tova Hamilton. She won in 2020. She's back. She's going back to Parliament. Hardworking member of Parliament. I'm very happy for her, just as I'm happy for Rhoda Crawford and many other persons.
Okay, we in fact have Nakinsky Robinson, who is in Trelawney Northern. Let's go to her.
Because the PNP wanted this seat. They thought they would.
I'm now at the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium in Falmouth, where the counting has been concluded for the Trelawney Northern constituency. And the word that I'm getting from the election officials is that the seat was successfully retained by the incumbent member of parliament who was seeking a second term as MP, Tova Hamilton. Now, she is the first female member of parliament for Trelawney Northern, and she has successfully done so tonight from what we've heard. She was going up against the People's National Party representative, Dr. Wickham McNeil, who is the political juggernaut, who is not new to the scene at all. And so he was seeking redemption because he was unseated when he served as member of parliament for Western Westmoreland in the 2020 general election. We saw very frantic and chaotic scenes here tonight where even one of the Jamaica Labour Party supporters, in the height of their excitement and partying, she passed out and she was rushed to seek medical attention. We've not gotten any word as to her state right now, but we're hoping that she is recovering well. But now the place has been emptied out. The lot is really and truly emptying out right now. As you can see behind me, there's a huge Jamaica Urban Transit Company bus. And just before we started this video, we saw very long lines, the lot heading back onto the main road. So the polls have closed, the counting has ended, and it seemed to have been Miss Tova Hamilton from the Jamaica Labour Party who was first past the post tonight.
I just heard that the police are calling for
I think we were talking about the seat, and I was saying I think this exactly makes my point. The parties can no longer afford to be complacent and think of seats as, oh, safe PNP or safe JLP seats. And I think that's actually great for the country, great for the constituencies themselves, and overall, as I've been saying, great for democracy.
Yes, I agree.
Quite a few of the young women from the JLP who won in 2020 have been returned in 2025.
Right.
Over Hamilton, Rhoda May Crawford,
Crystal Lee.
Okay, here is Juliet Holness's seat.
She's going to be the Prime Minister.
Andrew East Rural, 130 of 137 boxes declared for Juliet Holness. So the former speaker holds on to her seat.
Yes.
If we can spend a moment and try and figure out what is happening in West Central St. Andrew, when
the Prime Minister
comes up on the screen, I want to see what is going on with the Prime
James
Minister.
Robinson.
Well, I mean, the numbers hadn't moved, so.
Yeah, the numbers haven't moved for the Prime Minister one for a while. I think
it will move in favor of the Labour Party.
Okay. There it is.
Oh, still at
the
same. That's what I'm saying.
Hasn't moved.
It's been the last 2 or 3 times it's come up, it's been the same. So I suspect the next time we see.
Hold on. That looks suspicious, you know.
It looks suspicious in a way. It looks
suspicious.
It looks suspicious.
The people who are watching the counting.
And that is why I'm saying when it's changed the next time, you'll see party leader Dr. Andrew Holness.
I mean, what we have here is that northeast.
Yeah, but
it look dodgy in it. It look dodgy in it.
You see, that's one of the reasons why I don't like ballot.
For Christopher Brown.
Yeah.
I don't. The ballot thing.
With your party people.
Well,
there it is. Yeah.
Dr. Dunn is leading. Yeah.
But he hasn't changed from where it was before.
Yeah.
Right. So there's only one box left there. And so you are saying that.
You're saying it's been called for.
And that one box has given him.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's my understanding as well. By 12, I understand.
Another
Norman
one
Dunn
going
has
to
lost.
magisterial.
On a magisterial recount.
Yes. But we will see.
So whose column was
What
that
if you
for
have
anybody?
what under
That
what
was
was
a
the
mistake
special
for
for
the PNP.
magisterial recount?
In my column, They
I
needed
think
to
when you
take
reach
that
those
southeast
points
St. Mary.
there, they normally
And they
have
have,
one
but
magistrate
again,
by
based on,
county.
based on my count,
Yeah.
it's still coming up a little short because of, you know, the other areas that have not come
Or
fully.
maybe the guy from Mark
Yeah.
Hutchinson can give over his
So,
votes.
That's one of those
Who's the
cases,
one to
if
give
indeed that win
So
is
where they
confirmed,
stand right now in terms
in
of
which
seat?
the PNP finally managed to take back a seat that has been with the JLP.
I'm gonna
now
wait for
several
the
terms.
bottom, the thing to
Two.
show. Dion Jackson said there's a
Two. And they've taken as well the southeast St. Catherine with Dr. Alfred Dawes. That is also a big win. Robert Miller losing there, I think we already showed that. But again,
What they already
when
called
they
election?
didn't manage
That's
to
what
wrest
somebody
the
says.
Central Manchester from Rodamoy,
Are we on
that's
a
a big,
behind?
really big
We're on the
win
we're
or
on the
hold
site
for
which
the Jamaica Labour Party. So you do take one there, but then you don't take the other,
me
and the
check something.
numbers just don't add up. Yeah. Marlene Malahoo Fort as well in West Central St. James. I think you were hoping to take that one.
Yes.
You may come up just a little short with that one, even though it's not yet officially completed in terms of counting, but we shall see.
Okay, let's just since you mentioned that, this is the latest we have from West Central St. James, 82 boxes of 106. The JLP's Marlene Malahoo Fort with 4,788. The JLP's Andre Horton, 4,192. Clifford Barnett, 15 votes. We'll go to a break. We're back with our live election show in just a moment.
Malik, what do you say?
Yes, I'm just here observing and checking online on certain things. No, it has not been called just yet on any of the other platforms.
Yes.
On the going back to Trelawney, because as a Trelawney man myself, complacency is the primary reason why the People's National Party lost both seats. You know, it's a hell of a thing when you assume that you will win without putting in the
Yes.
work. And again, the people have spoken very clearly. I take Mark's point about clear evidence of progress in Trelawney. As you drive through, especially there in Falmouth, where the reporter was reporting from,
Yes.
Even though, for example, in Falmouth there, the craft market looks more like a town from a movie set. Even though the cruise ship being docked there has negatively impacted the ability to earn from people who have stalls, even though the market has been moved from the town centre out to where the dumpland was when you're going out towards Martha Bray. Despite all of that, the evidence of progress was such that the PNP became complacent and therefore next option, JLP. And I think this speaks to much of what we're seeing reflected now in the votes. Paul Buchanan, I'm going to double check with a colleague of mine, but I am virtually certain that I went to school with Paul Buchanan, you know. I'm virtually certain he's a Trelawney man, but don't hold me to account just yet on that one. I'm going to do some research. And if it's the same Paul that I went to school with, his tenacity, his drive, his focus, and when I see the 87 there, of all of the other votes coming through and boxes being counted, it seems to be this stuck at 87 for an unprecedented amount of time relative to the changes everywhere else. Now, I am not in any way, shape, or form suggesting collusion. What I am suggesting, however, is that when people have had enough, when people decide that we need something different, sadly, with our two-party system, it will either be one or the other. And remembering 1972 to 1980, when PNP had won, come 1980, landslide for the JLP with Edward Siaga. And right now, going back to the point about Jamaica First, it's clear that people are voting in a way that A, impacts their pockets first, how it speaks to their issues, as Mark alluded to earlier, and what O'Neill mentioned, whereby we need to have a more intelligent way moving forward. Sadly, it is not that simple. And so even with social media, I followed both parties leading up to the election, and neither party used social media responsibly. In terms of pushing forward the manifesto points, in terms of pushing forward your vision for Jamaica, both parties alluded to memes, cussing out each other, and that didn't bode well for voters, because those who are more susceptible to listening to gossip, to following memes, to going into the hype, it doesn't give them an informed perspective, and therefore it negatively impacts how they vote, or even if they vote.
Well, Holness, when he first got into power, he actually got in because of social media. Unfortunately, this time it's been redirected in an area that is not responsible and not fact driven. So that may have affected his the outcome. Now back to what I said earlier about people not being educated. I think what was mentioned by
Mark, you okay?
A lot of feedback.
Yes. No, I was saying that I think it was correct to when I was corrected. I think people are not. It's not an education thing. It's just not informed about the issues in our country, because there are a lot of people who are just not aware of what's going on. When I talk about the getting the money, hiding the dealings of the government for 75 years, most people I spoke to did not know that happened in Parliament. And that to me is one of the most egregious acts by any government, to actually hide what you're doing in my name for 75 years, up from 35 years now to 75 years. How can you do that? And how could that not be one of the talking points of the PMP? You know, how could they not talk about something as bad as that, where a sitting government can actually do things and hide it for 75 years? To me, that's like one of the biggest issues for me and the GLP, you know. And when people are looking at other things that don't really matter, like, for instance, people made a big deal about being Jamaican is not, Marky, as a prime minister, you don't say stuff like that, okay? Because people are ignorant and they'll just take it the wrong way. But I understood what he's trying to talk about. I know a lady in
oh wow, you saw that? Sorry, it flipped.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He came back.
Yes, won by 20 votes or something like that.
Wow. So what I was saying, right? So I was thinking, I was referring to this lady that I know in Mitzi, Memphis. I think she runs a capital of casual in Negril. She moved from America to be a Jamaican citizen. And I can tell you this, her commitment to Jamaica far surpasses people that I know that have been born in Jamaica. Her attitude towards our country, and she wasn't born here. So I understand what the Prime Minister is trying to say, but that's not something that the Prime Minister should say in his capacity as leader of the country. You know.
Still there's concerns about this thing stuck at 87. Why?
Yeah. That, you know something, man. Hey, listen, man. There has been a lot of songs written about ballot box being stolen and all that kind of stuff. That's a reality of Jamaica, you know. Man can thief ballot box and do all kind of thing with ballot box, which is one of the reasons why I've been advocating for voting by text, where I can stay in my house and vote, use my phone and vote for who I want to be in Parliament. And a lot of people say, well, it can be manipulated. Guess what? If you're banking by your phone,
Mark, sorry, hold on. Something is going on because they declared her a winner before, and now it's 44 out of 96 boxes,
which is half.
No, but they declared her a winner before, and the lady came on and said, the two, they're not, whatever they're doing behind the scene, something is like.
Let me tell you something, man. At the end of the day, this is Jamaica, and the country's resources are being divvied up by both political parties. Okay, and people, people, money drives things in Jamaica, man.
Yeah. Let's hear what they're saying.
Being here with us wherever it is in the world you are joining us from. We know we have a huge following in the diaspora. We're happy to have you here with us as well. So that still looks like only about 50% gone there. And I know we had heard that Paul Patmore was
likely to do well.
Yes, but we'll see what happens when the final numbers come in there. So I would ask you, Earl, is there anything that has surprised you so far?
No, I expected it to be very close.
Yes.
And therefore, I'm not surprised at how close it has turned out to be. I think for many persons, the fact
you see the figures, 29 JLP, 28 PNP. Very close.
Prime Minister is,
they were saying 33
at least 30. By what we have seen, trailing at the moment. But there are still 18 boxes to go, so he could very well bring it home still.
One of the things our listeners and viewers will have heard throughout the night is you will hear one of the panelists saying something like, it depends where the boxes are coming from. So in other words, you might have one candidate leading in a particular constituency, but if the boxes left to come in are coming from a stronghold of the other party, then you could see that result turn inside out. And that's basically what it is we're kind of seeing happening throughout the night. Sometimes you see the seesawing of the votes going between the two candidates. A lot of the times that's what's taking place.
So they're tied right now, 29-29.
So no,
definitely not a landslide.
In relation to
it's going to always be close.
As soon as this is over, as we've said, the party that is declared the victory, we're going to be declared the victor. We're going to expect to hear, because of course, viewers and listeners, we are going to be with you until the end. So we are going to be waiting to hear whoever gives their victory speech, whoever gives their concession speech. And we were talking the other night, Earl, about a night, in fact, when there was no concession speech.
Yes, and that was 2007. I think it was 2007. It was that close, and Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller did not concede that night.
That's the one we're talking about, Mark.
Some recounts.
Yeah.
But by the next day, it was clear that the JLP had won.
Because the JLP will win tonight again.
That's so Mark.
What is clear?
You have to prepare two speeches. We're here, you have to have two speeches.
What is clear is that
people just come out and talk.
Whoever wins won't have the political equity.
No, they don't have a majority
to do as they please.
So they have to work together.
Yes, which is
good.
More favorable to the Jamaican people.
Yeah, it's good. So Mark, that's the one 07 when the PNP lost, and remember they went after. There's a couple of people that had U.S. passport, and that's when that whole litigation started, if you recall.
Right.
All right. Here it is now. 31 for the PNP JLP so far, and 29 for the JLP. So therefore, it is very, very close.
Very close. The JLP need 2 more seats.
Yes.
And the fact that the Prime Minister could cause his party.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that?
But you know, this remind me of when the political pundit, and I'm going to draw a reference to the coalition in the UK, when the pundits were trying to say exactly what are the people saying, and they said the people of the UK was saying we do not trust either one to run the country, so there had to be a coalition between the Lib Dems and also the Conservative. In this particular case, as someone just alluded a while ago, it is showing that no one will have that political clout that heavy weight that they can run things. They have to work closer together to take Jamaica over. It is there now, very closely together. It could be the JLP or it could be PNP. I understand it's been called by the JLP so far, Cliff Hughes, but we're left to see
So
what
he
happens
called.
there.
So Cliff called it for the JLP. You're saying?
That's what somebody said. So somebody
Okay.
said.
So
But
I want to
Cliff
go
always
back.
call it.
Yeah, I want to go back and sort of, here's the thing. And Mark, you do. I spent a ton of time in Mikel in Jamaica. The thing that gives me hope, there's a generation of Jamaicans that are thinking about Jamaicans totally different than I've seen in the last 15 years. And I think every cycle election, you have more and more folks who are thinking more deeply about the trajectory of Jamaica, which is a good thing. The thing that I believe that we have not touched on today is if the turnout is 46%. I don't remember what it is, Mark. You might have the number. But that means there are 50 plus of the population that are eligible to vote did not cast a vote. Right? That to me, that's a bigger issue that both political party could not motivate a significant part of the voter population to come out and vote. Right? That to me, if I am any leader and I only won by whatever percentage, a win is a win in this case, but you have 50 plus percentage of your citizen that has disconnected. And that's troubling, right? Because remember, there was 36% COVID, but you increase it by some percentage point. There are times back in Jamaica when it was 80% turnout, right? So there's
back then there's an ideological difference between the two political parties. Now, like I mentioned before, it's a duopoly. The government, the GLP and the PNP are doing pretty much the same things in terms of foreign policy, in terms of because a lot of things that the GLP, the PNP could have been talking about. For instance, with the issue with Venezuela and our alliance with different countries that are not necessarily friends of the United States, we stood our ground on these things. Not anymore. I find that our foreign policy is pretty much the same. Our financial our economy, how we look on the economy is the same. Same asset liquidation and borrowing money. Sister P is the one that gave up the thousands of acres of land of the Rowan River watershed. Prime Minister came in and tried to stop the island off the coast. What do you call it? Goat Island, which was
hold on, one second.
When you back to the question of Mark Golding's future in the PNP as leader, we have got to the point now where, so he's 60 this year. If they go to the full term, this incoming administration, he would then be 65. Mm-hmm. I think more and more voters are not looking too kindly in the Jamaican context at someone taking the reins of government heading towards 70. Mm-hmm. And I think that might, despite what I said earlier, it may be one of the things that they will consider when deciding whether to stick with the leader or seek a younger person to take them forward.
We're going back to
the GLP need one more seat, by the way. I think they need one more seat.
Thank you so much, Dion. So we're almost there. 99% of all the boxes counted. And what I'm seeing behind me, the latest figure just refreshed, the People's National Party leading in 30 constituencies, the Jamaica Labour Party leading in 33. Now, I'm going to tell you the areas where we're still waiting on all the boxes to be completed. St. Andrew West Central, 83%. The People's National Party leading in that area. Going down now to St. Andrew East Rural, the St. Andrew East Rural, where the Jamaica Labour party is leading in that constituency. Trelawney Southern, 78% of all boxes counted, and the Jamaica Labour Party is leading in that constituency. Moving over now to Clarendon Northern, 97% of all the boxes counted, and we're seeing where the Jamaica Labour Party, well, is trailing in that constituency in Clarendon Northern. We're going down, well, I think that is it in terms of the progress report for all the constituencies so far. So we're waiting just on a few more constituencies.
I think we may have to call it for the JLP.
We're seeing where Trelawney
the
Southern,
JLP
that's
just
the
need
one
one
where
more to win.
we're having only 70%, just over 70% of all the boxes counted in that constituency as well, Dion. So, well, we're seeing another change, Dion. I tell you, the things can change quite quickly here at the ECJ. I'm seeing now where the Jamaica Labour Party is leading in 34 constituencies, and the People's National Party is leading in 29 constituencies. And as I said, we're almost at the finish line.
This
It's back
needs
to
some
you.
serious
Thank you
analysis,
so much,
guys.
Kalisha. Great work
That's
that you
what
have been
happened
doing
along the
interesting
way.
throughout the night.
Yeah.
Here's the
And
thing. I
as
saw an
you're
analysis.
saying,
One second, O'Neill.
they
One
just
second,
about
O'Neill.
an
One
inch
second.
there from the finish line. So the whole issue now, in terms of the extremely close seats, I think it's two we've seen.
Yes, 2 so far.
The Central Kingston and the Southeast St. Mary, which is, I mean, there have been elections where we've seen quite a few more that have been very, very close. But we were talking there about the voter turnout because
Voter turnout.
Again, this suggests that neither party is exciting the electorate beyond your narrow base. If we can't even get to 4 out of 10 registered voters deciding to come out to vote. So
40%.
I'm not sure where that leaves us or where we're going with this project we call democracy.
Well, Michelle always said there's no democracy, right,
all
Michelle?
that has been said tonight about the individual performances of MPs, one wonders what impact the last minute promises in terms of various forms of tax relief, etc., might have had on the votes in some of these constituencies where, you know, somebody's decision to go, for example, for the promise of minimum wage increase, or go for the pension, or go for the 3.5.
That's one of the things I've been saying, in fact, is that the polling numbers that we had been getting, when I looked at the dates that the pollsters
I think they froze Silverman.
Well, they haven't froze on my end, but
Okay.
yeah, in terms of debates, in terms of the announcement, in terms of the, you know, even
Are
the
we back?
manifestos
Are we
in
back,
some
yeah?
cases being released and what was happening. So
Okay.
I always felt that those poll
But
numbers
some
weren't
internet
going to give
challenges,
us
I
a
must
really
say, you know.
indicative
So
sense.
Kristen
But as Bob
Tufton,
said,
did he win his
polls
seat?
had indicated that
yes,
we
he
were
did.
going to see a close election, and indeed we
Yeah, Chris
seen
won.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think there's been a lot of attempts to try and discredit the RGR Gleaner done and there's some polls. And I think what we're seeing here from this election is that they were tracking.
Yeah, but it was always going to be a close election.
O'Neill, you're saying?
No, it's interesting. You know, and the commentator just says it is that it
Oh, the
seems,
prime minister is ahead now.
Totally.
I told you he's gonna do. It was gonna, you know, it was gonna. If this is where, Mark, I wish they do it like you sort of like you go to the board, CNN or any one of these, and you could plug in and say where the
Oh yeah, yeah.
so you can say, hold on, you know, yeah, this is typically PNP stronghold. This is typically JLP. So you'll see where the votes are coming from. So because if the prime minister wins, then it's over.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I don't see any. I see that the prime minister more than likely.
This is where I was saying 96 out of 96. I thought they called it before.
For Dalrymple. And Dalrymple is what you're talking about, Mark.
Yeah, that's the one I was confused when I saw it previously because I thought we were talking about it, and they called it 32. So the JLP pretty much have it.
So therefore, we can just declare that the JLP has won this election.
32. What? How much total is what? 63.
63.
So therefore, they need one more. Yeah.
32. You need 32, right? Because 32 and 31, that's 63. So even if the PNP get to 31,
30,
the JLP is still a win.
Yeah. And you have a knife edge there.
Yeah, the JLP has won it.
It's very interesting. I must say, it's very interesting. The level of momentum or so. One to say that's Juliet Holness and their son, one of her sons there. Yeah.
So Silburn, here's what I believe. This is if you just pull it back and just go back to first principles. There are 63 seats, right? The Jamaica Labour Party had 49 seats. PNP had 14. The hill to climb is hard. The JLP could lose 12 or 13 seats, right? And you see it playing out tonight where I think if you go back and look at where the Prime Minister went is to shore up his base and shore up areas that he think he could keep. Rhoda Crawford was a perfect example. He was there like 3 times last week, touching hands. And it seems if this results hold, it's just that the PNP had a bigger hill to climb. There was a lot of slack in the system for the JLP and not enough for the PNP.
Right. I agree. It's a bigger hill to climb. But I mean, it's a hell of a comeback, I can tell you that, because they flipped a lot of seats. Before the JLP was pretty much they were in charge. I mean, if Andrew Holness wanted to be a dictator, he could be a dictator because he could do whatever he wanted to do. He had no opposition, really.
Yeah.
He had all the votes in Parliament.
So, sorry, there, Mark. If you go back, I just looked what's the musician? Patrick Robertson, I think is the name of the musician that went up against Andrew in the last election. He actually got like 4,000 votes, thereabout.
Okay.
Right. So it seems to me the stronghold is just coming in, and he's going to win handedly, probably by about 57% of the vote.
Well, it's 5,000. It's 5,989 to 5 to. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They call it.
It's 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, they call it.
No. For some reason, I didn't see the 4 on Pat Buchanan.
Yeah. So they just called it. The JLP has won.
Yeah. Let me just go back to the thing.
Maybe they kept it there just to kind of get just to kind of keep Andrew on his toes. Who knows?
Very good run, Mr. Buchanan.
Very good run. Even though we don't know who he is.
You'd beat Andrew Holness, and you came pretty close to that because I didn't even look at West Central in my calculation because I thought it was a done deal. But he's done well. Yeah.
Clifford, you ready to concede it? There has to be a point.
I think regardless of who becomes the Prime Minister, who walks into Gordon House as government, the PNP has done.
So I guess the JLP has won, huh?
Yeah, they 34 seats. It seemed like
the part that was in ruins.
Yeah, they said 33 to 29.
There's one more seat. The one in the lady said they were now leading 34. Remember that board?
As I said before,
so there's one more seat.
The whole country in general has signaled that they want some sort of change, whether it is from the MP level or whether it's from
Mark is done now. I can see. I can see there's a Mount challenge.
One second there, Annie. We're gonna do a final
for that. Like
these guys are saying,
growing trend of voter apathy, but in general, people want to see some level of change.
I think what the Jamaican people want is to continue with the Labour Party.
I think Mark.
One second, Mark.
Oh, okay, sure.
One second, Mark.
The voter turnout doesn't support that, because what you have is the maths, 62% of registered voters who never came out at all. Right. So
That is
that's
true, and that
it's
is
3
something.
out of 4 registered voters came out. 6 out of 10 didn't come out. Now, when I did the math in 2020, when we had about the same voter turnout, when you actually looked at how many people had voted for the party in power, which is a JLP, it was actually only 20% of registered voters. So because the voter turnout is so low, you're essentially a minority government in terms of support from the voting public as a whole. So it's one thing to say, yes, we won, but surely it must be sobering. So that's why I'm taking issue with you saying this is what the people wanted, because in fact, it's a minority who have put you into power. I know it's winner takes all and first past the post.
I agree, but at the same time, it is the persons who come out to vote. Yes. So what we have.
No,
well,
stop
we can
there.
sum
That's
up
the
now.
point.
Malik, what you
The
say about
persons who came out to vote.
the
Most people
results now?
didn't.
Yeah, the apathy.
Mark?
The apathy
Most
that I
people
alluded
didn't
to
want
at the beginning
either
of
of these.
the
Hold on.
So what does that say
One
about
second,
how
Mark.
you
1 second.
relate to them and how you relate to the
So
country?
one second, Mark.
Okay.
1 second, Malik.
That is what
My
we have to
apologies.
do as
My
political
apologies. I turned this
parties. We
down.
have to engage. We have to find new strategies to engage the Jamaican.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the voter apathy that I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation is evident once again. Can you truly say, yes, first past the post, no debates, JLP won? The issue, though, moving forward for Jamaica is, can you truly say that you have a genuine representation of the will of the people when less than 40% of eligible voters actually go to the polls? And
Yes.
it is a point of further discussion for us. So looking, as we have been talking about tonight, or this morning rather, as we have been talking about it in terms of the future for Jamaica. Because democracy in this regard, it doesn't bode well for us, bearing in mind that people aren't being engaged in the voting process. Of course, congratulations to the Jamaica Labour Party. In that respect, the people have spoken, because ultimately it's those who turned out to vote, decide to vote in a particular way. However, on a broader level, right, and going back to, I think it was something that Mark mentioned about his conversation with Marcus Garvey Jr. about the spiritual awakening that is necessary. And O'Neill's point about the way we look at being informed as we go to the polls. It's a sad day in that regard.
But could it be, here's my thesis, and voter turnout is low, not just in Jamaica, but around the world. If you look at last year, I think we're 63 or 64% in the US. And if you look at other elections, there's a phenomenon, and the question becomes, are voters, are citizens being distracted by other things? Just walk down the road, any street, count the number of people you see on their phone, count the number of dinner table conversation that is happening around things and issues that matters to people, right? People are scrolling through. Go on a plane and walk down the aisles. Scrolling through, right? So you're seeing that play out in the wider society, where people might say, look, I don't care, right? My life is not going to change one way or the other. And therefore, I rather scroll on my social media versus participate in the town square. And I think that's the challenge, right? So I'll give you an example. One of my daughter is in the UK for school. And guess what? No phones. She gets phones once a week for 2 hours. Right? So I think there are certain educational it's an attention economy that we live in, and it's now manifest itself in our democracy, where people are tuning out, people are fixated on other things. And I think Jamaica, unfortunately, is the same aspect of it. People are scrolling, right? All these different things. But I always say this: if you don't go out and vote, it's your responsibility. You cannot complain. right? You have given up your right and your rights. So when something happened, you can't say, well, this person didn't do that for me, because you didn't exercise the right that allows you to make the change that you wanted or you so desire for your family and the country. So don't complain. When I ask people, did you vote? They said no. I said, you have nothing to complain about.
But could we say at the same time that persons not exercising their right to vote is also a process of exercising their vote, exercising their right.
It could be,
Yeah,
sir,
because,
but my perspective, you have no right.
yeah, no, okay. The election process is one part of democratic process. Right through, you have petition to your MPs. An MP automatically becomes an MP of all the persons in that constituency, whether or not they voted, and therefore you can have lobbying, writing letters to your MP, going to their surgeries. The MPs are still responsible. So, in a way, people not exercising their vote is also exercising their democratic choice, unless one is going to go down the route of Australia, whereby you lock them up or you sue them or you fine them for not exercising their vote, for not voting. That could be said as well, that they're exercising. Mark, yes.
Well, like I said before, right? I supported a candidate in Northeast Sentan. And I could see the effects of money on the votes. All right.
Yes.
If I didn't have a friend outside to buy me a bag of Sky Juice or something to drink, I'd literally die of thirst inside that place. Whereas the JLP, the poll worker, they had a special person that walked around with like almost like a buffet. What do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? Whereas my candidate couldn't really afford anything. And what he brought to me from some aunt must have cooked some food and bring down to whatever. I didn't want it. And so money plays a big part in our democracy. I think if we truly want to get people engaged in the democratic process, we have to make it easier for us to vote. And I strongly believe that if you take the money out of politics in Jamaica, you'd get more people voting. For instance, poll workers, you have to hire poll workers, right? You have to have people to carry people to the polling station. If you have a bus, if you have money, you can buy people from a certain constituency to come down to vote. If you don't have any money, you have to depend on people to spend their own money to go down there and vote. So if you took out the reason for money, which is if persons can, it's easy for them to vote by text or a longer period of time to cast a vote rather than a one-day thing. Because some people might want to vote on a weekend. Let's have a week of options of when you'd like to vote, because people don't have that the flexibility in time as a retiree or whatever. And you also have the older people who'd like to vote, but they're not willing to go down there to the polling station and stand in line for hours to vote. They're not going to do that because
that is why you got the runners.
First of all, they're not seeing that difference in whoever is elected. So we should focus now on greater participation, on what it's going to take to get Jamaicans to vote, how to make it easy for them to vote. And I think that requires less money.
There's a point that O'Neill flagged up earlier when he said that it's a trend which has shown that voters turning out is not going to pass, or is not passing a certain level, right, O'Neill? That's where it's at now. Voters' level is not passing a certain level. And I think no matter how much we go and do it, is like if people are not inspired, then they're not going to come out and vote. I mean, I saw my mother went out to vote, of course, but she's elderly lady, but my sisters then make sure she went to vote. I've seen where they said runners are key persons that go out and get people to vote. I mean, in the UK here, one of the things is that we have a house which we say that's going to be the base, and then what we do, we check on all the different persons that we need to turn up, and then we check off all the different persons that have turned up to vote. And late in the night, sometime before 10 o'clock, we are out running and knocking on people's houses and say, "Have you voted yet?" Because we realize based on the telling that they haven't voted as yet. So therefore, it's a machinery at the same time. Unfortunately,
Also,
yeah.
Also, there's a lack of vision from our leaders. In the 70s, when I was in high school, there's a fundamental difference between the JLP and the PNP. Yeah. People were engaged when Mali won by a landslide. I mean, think about the things that were put in place. All the different programs that were put in that were never done before. Right now, we have leaders that are put in place based on how valuable they are to the political party, not necessarily to the Jamaican people. Yes. So once you have, I mean, why is Trump president? Why is a Biden president? Why? The machinery behind the politicians are the ones that are driving the elections. It's not the people anymore.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive.
Yeah.
Okay. For Jamaica to come out and vote, because there's nothing different. Nothing's gonna change. What's gonna change?
Okay. I'm gonna wrap up shortly now. Anil, your last word as to with this 33-29. What do you see the government going forward now and working together?
I believe if you just look at their manifesto, I think Andrew is going to continue to focus on the macroeconomic things. I think he thinks he's there, and I believe he's going to start to focus on the middle class. I think that's one of the reason you see the round thing around, increase in minimum wage to $33,000 or something like that. So I think he's going to focus more on the kitchen table issues, because when you just look at it, we have had 19 elections in Jamaica. I think Andrew is the second prime minister, and someone check me, that actually won 3 terms. The person before that was PJ Patterson. Right? This is new territory. So the question becomes, if we agree that the macroeconomic stability are going the right direction, then what he needs to do is focus on the other things, right? Cayman is, I think you're going to see a big thing on the logistics. I think, Mark, you mentioned the airport. Public-private partnership are such. I do a ton of those in my line of business. Normally, you do some of those deals, depends on how you look at it. So I do believe you're going to see a lot more focus on the kitchen table issues, because I think he's going to realize that if they continue just on the macro level things, you're going to leave a bunch of people behind. So one more thing. I do believe they're going to continue to focus on the security issues and the energy issue. I think those are 2 big issues they're going to focus on.
What about the corruption and the issue with the statutory declaration? Do you think what do you think about those things?
Me, I don't pay attention to it, because here's the reason why I don't. I just don't know what's facts and what's fiction, right? People talk about 28 bank accounts. There's a report from the Supreme Court that talks about that's not true. So the thing is that the question becomes, was that amplified? Because I don't know whether it's true or not. There's a lot of things that people say, but if you look at the corruption index, that is an independent sort of, the UN, etc. Jamaica has gone down. So it means they're doing something well, right? Because there's an international body that says when we look at the things, the corruption index has gone down. So people will say it, But when you just look at it from an external perspective and you look at the fact that year over year, they have improved on the corruption index. There's
Okay.
something that's sort of right.
Yeah. Okay, Malik. 2 points. Moving forward with this government now, as you can see, they don't have the full majority, so therefore working together, and also your bit on the whole statutory declaration and those bits with the reform of constitution. How do you see things?
Yeah, it will force both parties to work together to get certain things moving from a parliamentary level, which is a good thing for Jamaica overall.
Yeah.
The apathy is deep concern. And one of the solutions is starting with younger persons and making politics more sexy, more relevant, more appealing to them, stressing why nationalism and patriotism is important. Because in the same way that we have benefited from policies of the government and the clarity of the differences, why we are still politically active, on this trajectory, 30, 40 years' time, you'll have a group of persons who simply are not concerned. And this will impact Jamaica. So I stress that it's about Jamaica first, party second in that regard. Now, the whole corruption thing, the reality is this. Politics is a dirty business. It is driven by money, always has been, always will be. And unless the culture changes, it will remain this way. Now, this is where a difference in the mindset, as I alluded to earlier about the education and having people understand why patriotism is so important. The Integrity Commission.
Second, I think Mark Golden is about. I think Mark Golden is about to speak. One second there. My apologies.
Yeah, let's hear it now, Mark.
He's on the, yeah.
Okay, so you're watching there a live feed from PNP headquarters. You can see that the president of the PNP, Mark Jefferson Golding, is getting ready to speak. As soon as he starts to speak, we'll go back. Let me just remind you, you're watching TVJ's live coverage.
Keep talking, Malik, until when Mark Golding come on.
Yes, and so the Integrity Commission report came through.
Oh, he's about to speak. He's about to speak, sir.
The affiliate, let's go over to PNP headquarters.
Comrade General Secretary, comrade officers, all the comrades on the platform, all the comrades in the audience, all the people of Jamaica who are listening, watching. First of all, I think it's my duty as a believer in democracy to acknowledge and concede the result and to congratulate our opponents, the Jamaica Labour Party, for their victory tonight. Jamaica's democracy is important and we must cherish it. Sometimes it brings bitter disappointments. Sometimes those disappointments are laced with a tinge of a sense that not all is fair and just, but it is very, very important that we put democracy ahead of all of those feelings. And I accept the result of these elections. And although obviously I'm very disappointed in the outcome, I think it is only correct to expressly acknowledge the success that our opponents have managed to gain today. I want to thank a lot of people. And first of all, I have to thank the comrades and supporters of South St. Andrew for standing with me, for coming out today in their numbers, and for giving us a decisive victory in the constituency, which I have the honor to serve. I also want to thank our campaign team, led by our campaign director, our general secretary, Dayton Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Also, a newly minted member of parliament. Congratulations to him on his victory in Eastern Westmoreland. And all the other members of the campaign team who worked with him. There are a number of names there. I don't want to attempt to go through all those names because I'm going to probably forget somebody and then I'll regret it. But they have done a tremendous job. The communications team, I want to thank them publicly for the work they have done. And that is a night and day kind of job. It starts very early in the morning and goes on till late at night. So their commitment to the task at hand is remarkable, and I want to thank them deeply for it. All of our candidates who ran in this election and their campaign teams, I want to thank them for their effort, for their commitment to the country, to the democratic process. I want to, of course, congratulate the 29 who have been successful tonight. And we have more than doubled our number of MPs tonight. For those who are not, they still committed themselves extremely well. And I want to say that this was a wonderful demonstration of the maturity of Jamaica's political process, that we could go through such a closely fought election without any violence to speak of. And, we must all give ourselves a round of applause. In our homes, if you're listening, here at PNP headquarters, because that was not always the case. And I wanted to thank
they were very
all of
civil.
the pioneers who led that process to where it is today, where I think we can safely say that Jamaica is a place that really cherishes and respects the democracy that we have built. I want to thank the people of Jamaica for having received us so well and having given us, hundreds of thousands of votes and given us 29 seats. We don't take that for granted. People is slow, and that's an issue which more will have to be said about, because it's an undemocratic situation when people, elderly and other people, have to be in the hot sun lining up to vote for sometimes hours. And it should not be that way. We should do better, and we have to do better. I must tell you that I'm proud of the platform that we put forward for the people of Jamaica. It was a truly progressive platform, a platform that offered a radical reform to the land tenure issues that have plagued this country for centuries. A radical platform that would have enhanced the standard of living and quality of life of those working families that are struggling to survive now by giving them significantly lower tax burdens on their income. Progressive in a social justice sense as well, around issues such as beach reform, contract work, and other things which really need to be addressed because there are injustices in our society which cannot be tolerated and should be modified and rejected in their current form. So I just want to thank all of the team that came together and developed those ideas and put them forward boldly and without reticence. And I think that for many Jamaicans, they saw the benefits and the power that that platform and those ideas and proposals would have delivered. So ladies and gentlemen, for us, it's a difficult night. This is not an easy speech to make. One wasn't hoping for a result which is not success. And it means that the government will get its third term, and we will have as a nation to deal with that going forward. But the People's National Party, I'm happy to tell you, is alive and well, is a powerful political organization. And has embraced modernity in its methods and has definitely, I think, over the last few years, come a long way towards being a competitive political force in Jamaica. And as the General Secretary said, the work begins right away to prepare ourselves for the next opportunity to offer ourselves to serve the nation in government. And I believe the people will, in due course, give us that chance. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, the word is love. Power to the people. God bless you all. Thank you for your support.
Okay, so Mark Golden, the opposition leader, just
Listening
spoke,
there to
and
the
I think
president
we're
of the People's
seeing
National Party, Mark
shots
Golding,
which is
giving
coming
his
over towards the
concession
Prime
speech.
Minister,
The
who's
final
about
seat
to maybe
count,
speak
34
a victory
seats to the
speech
Jamaica
as well
Labour
before we
Party,
wrap up
29.
as well.
You know, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that in
O'Neill,
case I mislead
there's a
anyone.
point you
Just to
mentioned a while ago,
remind
34 is now 34,
everybody that
29.
what has been done
34,
tonight is a preliminary
29.
count. So the seat count at the
34 for
end
the
of the
JLP,
preliminary
29
count
for
is
the
34
PNP
for the Jamaica Labour
as well.
Party,
So
29
therefore,
for the People's
as many were
National
saying,
Party.
third term
The
loading,
final
well,
count is
the
going to
loading
take
has
place,
gone off
and
now
then we're
because I was seeing the
expecting
thing going around and
certainly
it was
in at
stopping.
least those
You know, when you're on
two
a computer, you see it's
constituencies
loading.
in which
So
we
finally
raise a thin
it can kick
margins
in.
of about 11 and 12
It's
votes.
funny. I
Those
looked at my
voting
notes.
Sorry,
will
my
recount. We'll see what happens after that. We
my
are seeing
apologies
on
there.
screen the Prime Minister at JLP headquarters, seeing there a jubilant Desmond McKenzie on the mic as well, seeing Delroy.
Sorry, were you hearing me speaking a while ago? I just realized.
Yeah, I heard you speaking. So what I was saying is, I looked over my sheet that I wrote down, and I had 3330.
Yes.
Right. So to your point, I actually like Mark's speech. The fact that he conceded, he acknowledged the win, which means democracy is alive in Jamaica. Right. This is our 20th, which for a little country that is super important. There are countries who have not had the track record that we have had. So we should be proud, Jamaicans, the peaceful transfer. And he said it, now to the hard work. There are issues that needs to be tackled. And what I hope, given now you have a slimmer majority, it will force both parties to work together. Because I do believe there are issues that I mentioned. How do you integrate artificial intelligence to drive up productivity? How do you get into other areas? How do you bring down the cost of energy? Because if you're able to do these things, you're going to make Jamaican lives much, much better. You're going to open up the country for more manufacturing opportunity, etc. So I hope Mark and Andrew could lock arm together and figure out, to the point that you make, McCall, it's for the Jamaican people. Now the election is behind us. Let's figure out how we govern in the interest of the Jamaican people. And the Prime Minister now have to be the Prime Minister of the 2.9 million people that are in Jamaica. And I think the point that we made, he has to also acknowledge, how do you get those 54 or 55% that didn't turn out? How do you engage them in a meaningful way that they become part of the democratic process? So I have a lot of hope. And I think, I look forward in the weeks and months to see how these two political parties who fought a good race, but at the end, Usain Bolt was much more faster.
Well, one of the most important thing is that, as you rightly say, is that they'll have to sit and work together. Areas of education, areas of transportation, areas of the crime, especially, and you can see maybe I don't know if Vision 2030 will come alive, but maybe push Vision 2030 to 2040 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I want to wrap up. But should we wait to hear the Prime Minister before we go? Should we?
Yeah.
Should we wait?
Yeah, we should.
Yes, on the field. On the field.
Yeah, on the field. The other thing I would say.
Yet another.
Yeah.
So sorry, someone alluded. I think it was Dion. I don't see how. I think Mark will continue for a bit, but I think you're going to see Mountain challenge to become the leader of the PNP. I think you're going to see a challenge to his leadership. What is this we're looking at? Is this a
O'Neil,
virtual?
you're saying O'Neil.
No, I said you're gonna see.
What? Yeah, what they're showing is a virtual.
Yeah. So you're gonna see. I believe, and I could be wrong. There will be a challenge because when you look at it,
you're gonna see what you're gonna see.
5 more years is what 5 more years, right? Andrew's pretty young. I think Andrew is 54 or something like that. So he's gonna finish when he's 60. I think Mark is 60, so he'll be 65. So I could see where someone in the party is going to say, you know what, I should be the leader. And I don't know who, like a Damian Crawford. I don't know if he won. Did Damian Crawford win?
I don't know, I don't know. Let me just check.
Yeah, because they didn't make
Yes, Damian won. Yes, Damian won.
So I could see Damian mounting a challenge. I could see others mounting challenge against Mark. So it's going to be super interesting to see how this plays out for Mark. Just given he was at the bat and he was really, really hoping that he would have been prime minister. But given where his party is, he has done a really good job in getting them to 29 seats. But the question becomes, is he the future of the party?
Is he the future? Yeah. And I think you got some very bright sparks. You got bright sparks in both sides of the party. Actually, I must say there are bright sparks in the JLP and bright sparks in the PNP as well. And but I think the youths. I think there's going to have some conversation with the youths as to what inspires them, because I've been listening to youths a lot. Some of them have been coming out, but those that have been coming out is because they're maybe politically astute and they may be linked with the different party structure, but the average youth is not really engaging in a sense. And they say, like for the PNP, you've got an elderly folks, set of people there, and for the Labour, you got a more younger bunch of people. But as we say, it's about who will inspire the next generation, and what people have to understand as well is that just voting only is not the main thing. Is the whole political process is whereby can the backbenchers be effective? Will someone get up and speak against the policies of an opposition or the policies of a government when they are speaking up for their constituents? Will they definitely speak up for their constituents and not speak about just party loyalty? That's another factor there. Alan, the Terry Long, you want again? Yeah.
Yeah, get off the stage.
Raymond Price.
Get off the stage so the Prime Minister could. No, I said tell the guy to get off the stage so the Prime Minister could speak.
Yeah, we got the.
Yeah, I tell you.
Everybody's stealing the Prime Minister's thunder now, isn't it? Somebody said, "Did the JLP really won?" Well, yes. If you can see, it says congratulations to the JLP.
34 is greater than 29.
34 is greater than 29.
Simple as that. Basic mathematics, I tell you.
Well, sorry. You're saying something, O'Neil, as to what are going to be the feedback of persons who is going to feel it more. Will it be the PNP or no. If the JLP has lost or the PNP lost, we're doing this, who would feel it more as who loses?
I think we talked about this last week, you and I. I think the PNP feels it most because they will be out of power for 15 years, 16 years, right? Yeah. And the question becomes, they're going to have to do their introspective to say, where did they go wrong? Obviously, as you mentioned, there are some really bright spots. There's some really young, good candidates in the party. So how do you create a momentum? And I do believe you also have to go back and look at the words that you use, right? There are things in this election that gave me pause because I've never heard Jamaican politicians speak that way, right? When you start cursing, you turn off some of the older folks, right? So I do believe they have to go back, even though they've won more seats, to ask the question, how do we galvanize and how do we get a message out that resonate with the larger populace that's going to get you in the political? What is it that you're going to do different? It cannot be you're corrupt, so therefore put us in place. Has to be more. Tell us how you're going to do X different, right? And I think those are the things they're going to go back and do some retrospective to figure out how do they move forward, and then be an effective opposition. That's the key. Be an effective opposition. Figure out what are the things that you could work on and put Jamaica first. But I think the PNP is feeling it because I think Mark put everything on his back, and I think he ran a good race, but he came in short. And I think he's going to have to figure out when and how he passed the torch to the next generation of leaders. I think that's going to be the important piece. We just see the peaceful transfer. Now it's a matter of how do you put Jamaica first from a party structure perspective and say, here are the new leaders that I believe is going to take the party to the next level. It's what Bruce Golden did to Andrew. Bruce Golden was, my time was finished, and I'm going to hand it over to this young Andrew Holness. I think Mark has to find the equivalent in the People's National Party. And I think they're going to have to do some real. But the good thing, as I said, they've done well. They had a hill to climb. They just couldn't get over the top of the hill.
Yeah, do we know if Lisa Hanna's seat was won by the PNP? You know,
I don't know. I don't know. You know.
But we know that Crystal Lee won for Brownstown side, and we know that Matthew Samuda won for Northeast Centre as well. Why these guys don't give the Prime Minister a chance to talk?
Pouring the salt in the wound, man. Pouring the salt in the wound.
Chuck, I don't want to hear you, Chuck.
Pouring the salt in the wound.
These guys need to give the Prime Minister time to talk, or something like that, you know, before we can wrap up. It's what time is it there now, Anil, over there in the States?
12:06, and then I got to get up early.
Yeah, and I've got a long day ahead, I would say. I'm not. Apparently, they're just showing pictures. They're not even hearing any sounds or so like that. You know.
Right.
I know we're waiting to hear the Prime Minister, but you know. But ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, those on TikTok, the Jamaica Labour Party has won the election 2025, and those on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'm joined by Malik. I'm joined by Malik Mohammed and Anil Cross, and giving our reactions to this, and for people in the diaspora as well. As a matter of fact, talking about the diaspora, that's going to be a very interesting one, because I believe there's going to be a time to really look at this whole thing about overseas voting, because all of these people running down to vote, they could have actually just go to their embassies, isn't it? Only literally have gone to their embassies and be able to have a system where they could vote, unless they wanted to be a part of the sunshine. As the minister said when I interviewed her, Camilla Johnson, in London. No, not Camilla Johnson, Malahoo Fort. She said, Silburn, it is election tourism. No, she didn't say it. I said it. Election tourism, whereby people can come down and also vote. So you bring in foreign currency, foreign exchange in the whole country. But I do believe that people who somehow may be out of Jamaica, and then all of a sudden the Prime Minister called the election. As a matter of fact, there need to be fixed date for elections so that this don't happen again. They should be able to go over to some Jamaica High Commission or something like that and to exercise their vote. Someone was saying, I was listening to this guy, and he was saying that what they need to do, if they are going to do that, they'll have to have the ballot and they have to post the ballot over to Jamaica. I said, no, man, you don't have to do that. That's a bit backward, as well. What do you think about this overseas voting? Is that something going to be on the agenda? Should be on the agenda?
I cannot see either party being in favor or actively pushing overseas voting. Why? Because persons overseas will vote differently to Jamaicans on the ground. And bearing in mind the amount of eligible voters in that, based on that criterion, the amount of eligible voters who live outside of Jamaica, it would seriously impact who is in government. So I cannot see how either of them would actively be pushing that. And there's a reason why neither party, certainly in the past 20 years, has been pushing for the rights of Jamaicans overseas to vote.
Yeah. The thing, my take on this, and this is sort of Silver and tell you, because I've been super consistent, is that if there are Jamaicans who live in Jamaica and find themselves in Canada, the UK, or some places and there's a process in place for them to vote, yes. But if the discussion becomes that Jamaicans who have a green card that lives in North America or whatever should vote, that's where I have a challenge. Because now you're introducing a pool of voters. Yes, they have a green card, but they live here. It makes it a little bit more difficult, right? And that's always been my challenge is, yes, put in place that if businessmen, women who are overseas and you call election, they have the ability to cast their vote. Now, if you talk about, let's get people with green cards, right? There might be criteria that you said, if you're green card and you live in Jamaica and you just come back and forth and your primary residence is there, yes. But if you have someone who has a green card that reside in this country, waiting to get a U.S. citizen, you start going to really tricky grounds.
I agree 100% on you, 100%.
So, can we hear Topkin?
I'm seeing the Prime Minister behind him with the bell there. 1 second, let me just get this up.
Delano Seabright was the entire
you're not
process
you're not hearing it.
and Seabright put in. So he has his hand on the wheel, but he's not unprepared.
Seabright is a bright star now, I must say.
To redo if there is some sort of disruption. And he now has the Delano Seabright there who is able to do a lot, continuing with Ministry of Tourism Ministry Justice, because he's brought a lot in terms of lobbying for the judiciary and the budget.
I think they're just waiting for Andrew Hollis to come
on. He's on his 7th term and final term. We need to be looking at a new
7th term. Wow.
In a JLP cabinet who can look at putting up a good fight for the next election.
At the same time, we're going to be looking to see who Golding puts in his shadow cabinet. He now has more choices.
Yeah, more political
in terms
capital,
of
isn't it?
People who will be in the lower house
Golding.
And who will therefore be able to speak in the lower house. So, for instance, what we had over the past few months was an Alfred Dawes who was not sitting in Parliament. But
Alfred Dawes, did he win?
On health. So Dawes has now won his seat. So we'll certainly be hearing him on the floor of the Parliament. Tell me what you're expecting, Clifford.
I mean, I expect the shadow cabinet to remain similar to how it is right now. But
Mackenzie, you know, talk already.
Greater impact on.
I think he's going to introduce the Prime Minister.
Somebody outside who's not in Parliament talking. They're in Parliament. They can go toe to toe with.
PMP man, stop talking now so we can hear the Prime Minister.
For example, the Security Minister, if Peter Bunting wins as opposition spokesperson on security, he has that ability now to speak directly to Horace and give his point of view. So I think we're at a better vantage point in voicing our concerns, and I think to the Jamaican people, but also to the Parliament, to try and have some change.
Because what we saw a lot in the last Parliament was that Mark Golding had to take an awful lot onto himself. He was speaking on all.
I don't think we can stay and wait, man. We have to wait, isn't
Let me say, there's one thing that worries me about this, the closeness of the election. I'd really like to see us get on with constitutional reform.
Yes.
And part of me has been of the view that is only a landslide, one way or the next, that would cause us to move on that.
How though? Because we had a landslide last time and we got nowhere.
No, that's the point. Because the 14 in the House became so loud that it nearly drowned out the 49. They were so loud and the fever were always building to an election. Let alone now, when we have
29,
a slim majority in the lower house. I don't know how we can get on with any constitutional reform if the gridlock remains and is fortified, if the opposition continues to be of the view that they want the movement from the monarchy to be twinned with the CCJ. And I fear we will not move in the next 5 years if positions don't soften, and perhaps the numbers won't allow positions to
Nothing has
soften.
changed in that regard, because when the PNP had a landslide majority, it didn't get the cooperation from the JLP in opposition either.
Which is when?
From the 90s going forward. Remember, the constitutional reform process was
I
very
mean,
much
it's coming
alive.
to ring the bell, man.
It was a big thing.
All right, stick up in. And listeners and viewers, this issue of constitutional reform, some of the major changes that would have to be made in the Constitution require the support of both the opposition and the government. Both would have to vote together. The government would need the opposition support right now, certainly in the lower house as well as in the upper house. What we've seen over the past, how much years, is the two sides unable to agree. Most recently, the most recent attempt at constitutional reform, the government wanted to remove the monarch as our head of state, as well as to create a republic. The opposition's position was that if you're removing the monarch, they also wanted to remove the Privy Council as Jamaica's final court. I'm less optimistic than you, MLA. I've gone on record as saying I don't think it's happening anytime soon, constitutional reform. And I'm going to go further and say no, that the Prime Minister has reiterated, because I know he said it before, he has reiterated that his belief is that we need a Jamaican court as our final court of appeal. We are going absolutely nowhere.
No, but I don't think that's all the Prime Minister said. He said he prefers that, but he thinks on such a fundamental issue, we should hear from the people.
Guys, I think this is going to be dragging out. I don't know if you guys. I think we're going to have to go. You know, I'm trying to say. What do you say, Malak?
All right, buddy.
I agree. Yeah.
We're going to drag out. We have received. We have got what we came to, and we have got the results now, and so like that. So, listen, thank you so much, guys, for this exciting period of all the different debates, and all the best. Malak, thank you very much as well. Anil, all the best. You're gonna get some sleep now as well. I need to get even 2 hours sleep.
Indeed.
Congratulations again to the Jamaica Labour Party. All the best, Malik. Yeah.
All right. Out. Take care, Anil. Take care, Silver. Give thanks.
God bless. Cheers. Bye. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and for those in Jamaica, good night. Well, we have seen the end of the result, the end of this period, whereby the Jamaica Labour Party has won for the 2025 election, and 29 for the PNP, 34 for the JLP, and the big question is going to be, what is it that the people are saying? And one of the things which is very clear is that the people are saying, we want you guys to work together. So therefore, there's not a landslide, and there's going to be a weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth of some persons. But anyhow, the most important thing is that Jamaicans move forward. And I want to say thank you so much for those joining me on Instagram, those joining me on TikTok, those joining me on Facebook, and especially on YouTube. Thank you. Remember to like and subscribe, and I thank you for the new subscribers as well. And all the best. Peace out. Until next time. And of course, there's much more discussion that can be had. Many people are saying, what are people going to be talking about now? Well, there are issues they're going to be talking about. They're going to be talking about things like the constitution reform, issues about recall, impeachment. All those factors are still going to be in the whole process of things. And Jamaicans and all, what is it to be a Jamaican as well? All right. So all the best. Thank you very much. And oh, Prime Minister is about to speak. All right, I got it. 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 Let me see if I can get it here. Prime Minister is speaking.
Cheer for Edward Philip George Tiaga, for Bruce Golding, and I want to invite Mrs. Carla Siaga to just come and acknowledge the moment.
Okay.
And take a bow to the crowd, because all of this Mr. Siaga still, as well, he must be happy. So, Desmond, just you are only allowed to hold the bell temporarily. Do not ring it. I have a few things to say early on. Firstly, let me thank the thousands of Jamaicans who prayed for me personally and who prayed for the government and the country. I want to thank my wife and one of my sons is here, Adam. Come on, guy.
My wife, sweetheart, and friend.
Of course, the superwoman. And my mother. I want to thank them personally. I mean, you know, a political campaign, sometimes, you know, when they see the personalities, they forget that they are human beings with feelings and emotions, and they can be objectified. It's very difficult, but I want to thank my family here and abroad and all over who have withstood a tremendous onslaught, but they never gave up on me or on the people of Jamaica. I want to thank the political team. I think we have the best political team in the Caribbean. But allow me to, I do this at a risk, but I'm sure everyone will agree that my Deputy Prime Minister, Horace Chang, the General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party, deserves special commendation. You know, there's a special bond that has to be between the leader and the General Secretary of a political party. And Horace and I have been working for the greater part of 30 years together. We have been very good friends and very good professional associates. We have a mind share, and we are both very much committed to Jamaica, like everyone in the team. I want to thank you, the supporters. You would know how much you mean to me. For all of you who squeeze up on the bus to come to the meeting, who go on the long motorcades with us, For all of you who take on the PMP them when you hear them with the lies. But for all of you who have stood up and chosen Jamaica, I say thanks to you, the supporters of the party. You make us stronger, and we stand here on your shoulders. And thank you. God bless you, and I love you. Today, Jamaica won. Jamaica won this election. Yes. The majority of voters decided to choose Jamaica. Make no mistake about it. This was not victory by default. Make no mistake about it. This was not an easy victory. Make no mistake about it. This was a fight. But we did not descend my political organization. We did not descend to the gutter to fight. We did not seek to trick the people to win. We did not seek to tear down anyone to lift up ourselves. We did not seek to tear down Jamaica in order to be able to administer the affairs of Jamaicans. We ran a clean, disciplined, focused, well-organized campaign. And we proved that we can run a decent campaign and win. And that is how Jamaica has won. That is how Jamaica wins. Our democracy by this election is proven to be intact. There are those who are trying to seed a view that the mere fact of a third term is a threat to democracy. There are those who are trying to carry the idea that regardless of how well a government performs and merits to be re-elected, it shouldn't happen because somehow that is a threat to democracy. Well, today has dispelled that because we went through the toughest battle in any democratic society in the region to stand here and say he will be the government for the third time. And I want that point to be understood. We contested the election with the highest level of decency and morality. The people came out. We do have our concerns about the turnout, but the people who voted, the majority spoke and chose Jamaica. So I am satisfied that our democracy is strong. But I wish to assure all Jamaicans who participated in the elections or who did not participate in the election that my government will continue to be respectful of, uphold, and advance democratic institutions and protect the democracy of this country. There are some things that should be said. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Jamaica is at a special place today. It is an opportunity. For me, it was also a personal challenge. And I would just like to say, when you face challenges and you look for the opportunities, rise to the occasion. Look at yourself. You know you're strong. No one can stop you.
I think I need to go now. Okay, he's finishing.
And after all the attacks, the lies, the rumors, the innuendos, I am still solid as a rock. They just can't stop me now.
I just realized that nobody. Sorry.
Now, in the third term, as in the first and the second, we must guard against arrogance. We must develop an even keener ears to listen to the people. We must be focused on addressing the needs of the people. And while it is clear that the majority have spoken and chosen the Jamaica Labour Party, geographically and traditionally, there are still those who may not share that view. And for varying reasons. One reason is,
well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up now because we've been on it for a long time. It's about 6 o'clock now, and for the UK early in the morning. I want to thank everybody for coming on. And I'm not sure how long the Prime Minister's speech is going to be, but you can always tune into it on the site, CVM. But let's hear a little bit more.
Laser focused on ensuring that there is prosperity for all
Harry?
And just to be clear, prosperity doesn't mean riches. For some people, prosperity means peace. They want to live in peace. For some people, prosperity may mean their children getting to university. For some people, prosperity is a car. For others, it is a house.
I was looking at the list of different persons who did a look a survey the other day as to what were their predictions, and nobody got it right. Nobody got it right. Nobody got it right. I'm looking at it. No one got it right. Even the persons for the JLP, they didn't get it right as well. So no cake and no desserts for anybody. When I did the TikTok predictions the other day, no one got it right. But I must say, I've got to wrap up. But let me just hear a little bit more from the Prime Minister before we go at the same time. And got to call it night, morning.
The story of Jamaica is that we have done so much as a country, but we could have done so much more.
Okay. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a day. We're going to call it a night. As I said before, don't use the word prophecy word. As we said before, congratulations to the Jamaica Labour Party for winning the election. And thank you so much for joining tonight. This morning from 3 o'clock. Who was here from 2 o'clock, 2:30 this morning a.m. in the UK. And for those joining me in the USA and all over, I want to thank you so much for joining. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel, Silver TV. And of course, there's much more to come on top of that. So all the best, good night, and God bless you. Peace out and bye-bye.